And now on Who's Views, it's time for the latest headlines with JT and the Whotastic panel.
Here we go then, everybody. It's Who's Views. It's your big show on Friday, the 9th of May, 2025. Hello, everyone. Hope you're fine. Hope you are well and dandy since we saw you. And welcome to the weekend. Oh, yes, indeed. And apparently here in the UK, it's going to be another scorcher. Phew, what a scorcher, mate. It's going to be another good one. So will that have even more effect on Doctor Who's ratings this weekend? People outside the UK don't understand that the weather actually can help you actually sort out the TV viewing figures. Honestly, it can. But listen, we're going to be coming up to that because, yes, have you heard? In this edition, we are going to be looking at an update on the ratings. Also, Ncuti Gatwa, the current Doctor Who, has been spotted in Manhattan at the Met Gala. The Met Gala. We're going to be looking at that. It's so pretentious, it's unbelievable. And yes, Doctor Who, the alleged Doctor Who, tomorrow. Time to get your storybooks out and rev up your engines because, of course, it's the story and the engine tomorrow. Absolutely ridiculous title. It really is. Thank you for joining us. Lots coming up. What do you think of that title, Paul?
Well, as you can see from my title there, I can't wait for the next episode.
He's thrilled.
Yes, I am.
You are thrilled.
I can't wait for the end of the season, to be honest.
Yeah. Where are we up to now? Is this only the 5th?
This is only the 5th, yeah. It feels like longer, yeah, but...
Bloody does.
It's a terrible title. It's not engaging at all. It's not exciting. Give us a Revenge of the Daleks or something like that, for goodness sake. Come on.
I know, something sci-fi-ish and something... Yeah. I was talking about pretentiousness. We're going to be coming to that when we talk about Gatwa at the Met. I mean, oh, come on. But yeah, it is. It's very sort of... Isn't it?
Yeah, it's just meh. Yeah.
Meh, and pretentious nonsense. Yeah. Listen, I'd like to say a huge thank you, as usual, to everyone that has been getting in touch with us this week via comments and emails. I haven't managed to get back to many of you yet at all because it's been a busy week. So please bear with me. I will get back to you. If you want to email us, you can. whosviews1@gmail.com. That's whosviews1@gmail.com. I want to go straight into the chat as well for me, Paul, because we had a super chat right at the top of the show from Lex, who joined us on Monday, of course, for our Blue Peter, for our Blake 7 shows.
It's very similar. There's a lot of sticky back plastic involved, obviously.
With it being the BBC of the 70s. Lex, thank you for your super chat. 55 years ago today, on the 9th of May, Inferno was broadcast.
And it was on tonight, wasn't it, on You and Eden?
I didn't get to see it tonight because I had other things to do, so I've got to catch up.
I have noticed, I was looking through the program guide for You and Eden, and they're going to go skip Mind of Evil, as you said, going to go skip Day of the Daleks, go to the Mutants, and then go back to Spearhead again. So I don't know what's going on. Yeah.
Oh, well, listen, You and Eden, if you're watching, please don't do that because you're mucking up my plans to show our Sea Devils show.
Sea Devils is before the Mutants, so you're fine. Yeah. So.
Oh, so it is. Oh, so it's fine. Right, good. Well, pleased with that. Oh, I don't know if they're going to go back. Oh, how weird.
So I don't know why they're doing that. Just a little clump, and then they'll do it, and then do another clump. I don't know.
Maybe it's rights.
Maybe, yeah.
Or maybe they're just waiting to see how it all does. Or maybe they're just trying to get stellar ratings for it.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe, because it all pulled together. It's great to see so many of you in the chat. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, lots of stuff coming up when it comes to looking at the story and the engine and what have you there. And there's a little sweep there as Davros from Domgo. Good evening.
Yeah, I can see Sweep as Davros. He's got he's quite evil, Sweep, so it could easily be a creator of the Daleks. Like, quite easily. Yeah. But the Daleks been made from sausages, so that's the only problem. But
it's that lovely squeaky voice you can hear in your head now, everybody, can't you? You know. Hello, Rose Kirby. Nice to see you. Hello on this fine Friday evening. Whotastic panel. And to all in the chat, hello, good morning, good afternoon, evening to everybody in the whole universe. Oh, Rose covering all the bases there. How lovely. But it's good to see you all. Thank you all for joining us for this edition of Headlines. Kicking your weekend off in style, I think. I don't know about you, Paul, but I think it is.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah. It's going to be better than the episode tomorrow, that's for sure.
Oh, don't. I'm trying not to talk. I'm trying not to think about it, actually. Oh, and also there's this one from the Legion of James. This is the one I was looking for. Good evening, all. Today we remember the legend that was and is Joan Sims, who was born on this day 95 years ago, the 9th of May, 1930. Absolutely. Absolutely. Joan Sims, of course, in The Trial of a Time Lord as Katrika, episodes 1 to 4. And well known for many, many versatile theatre parts, television parts. But the biggies for Joan, of course, were the carry-ons, weren't they, Paul?
They certainly were. I must admit, I love that she described herself as Katrika, like Bonnie Langford's mum. I thought that was great.
She
or
did,
Granny.
yeah.
That was great.
Yeah. So listen, if you're interested in the carry-ons, we will be here on Monday, live on the channel, 8 o'clock, looking at Carry On at your convenience. Yes, we're going to be having our works outing May the 12th. If you know the film, you'll know what I'm talking about. But it's going to be on Monday, so come and join us. Hello, Amy Flowers. If the nice weather affects ratings, was the weather awful during the spring months of 2005 to 2008 when the ratings were higher?
They must have been. Or maybe the quality of the writing was better at that point. Who knows?
The quality of the writing was far better.
Yeah.
But that's what we do, though, isn't it? We don't watch telly when the sun's out. We go to have barbecues, or we go to the seaside.
In the UK, there's certainly in Scotland, there's a thing about it gets to 10 degrees and it's taps off. That's what happens.
Taps off. Translate that.
Tops off. Take your top off. Show your milk bottle white body to the world. Yeah, that kind of thing.
And Mark A. Wright is with us. What are you saying to us, Mark? It's rare I can watch Doctor Who on transmission, nor Who's Views on a Sunday. Guess which one I catch up first when I get home. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's lovely to see you all. Yes, it's tomorrow. So we are going to be doing our usual episode preview of that coming up very soon. But right now, we're going to welcome him back. He hasn't been well over the last few days, so it's great to see him here as we do our update. It's our one and only Bedweer, and it's his racing breakdown. Oh, and there he is there. How are you? All right?
I'm fine. Rumors of my demise are greatly exaggerated. I'm a human pincushion and fairly sore from small op, but I'm all good. I'm fine.
It's good to see.
Well, I have to say, you're looking well, which is good.
I'll take that.
Yeah, good.
Hospital food will do that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, can you imagine? Carry on, matron, I'm sure. I'm glad you're here. Thank you so much for doing this, because we've got a bit to catch up on, and so I know everybody in the chat will be saying thank you as well. So here he is. It is Bedweer. Yeah, Bill Lowry saying, "Oh look, they're waving to you." Rory and Cheryl are waving to you as well. Everybody's here. Yeah, come on, let's get into this. So where are we up to, Bedweer?
So I think we had our normal ratings analysis last Wednesday of last week, where we talked about overnights for the Well. Since then, we've obviously had Lucky Day, so we've got overnights for that. We have 7-day figures in now for the Well. We've got some updated figures for the pre-transmission stuff, which is a bit interesting. And yeah, just our usual, trying to redress the balance and providing context to a lot of the numbers you will see reported elsewhere.
So with that, let's start with this one. So this is the Gatwa series 14 and 15.
Yeah, so taking out the 2 Christmas specials, because they're sort of anomalies because of Christmas Day being sort of different environment. And last time we talked about ratings, we kind of speculated how if you took Space Babies in the Devil's Quarters, week 1, then there was a drop, and then there was a peak, and then there was that increase back up for 73 yards. And we speculated whether Lux into the Well and then Lucky Day would follow a similar pattern, and it seems to have borne out like that. So the Well and 73 yards coincided with a bit of soccer on the BBC. So whether that's artificially, increased that number, back in 2024 and now in 2025. But with Lucky Days overnight rating of 1.51, yeah, it's gone back down, and it's actually gone down lower than it had the previous week for Lux. So, yeah, I think it is bearing out the pattern that we speculated might happen.
Okay.
What will be interesting is if it continues that downward trend or whether it plateaus around the 1.5 million mark. So, yeah, it's I think it's safe to say it's following that pattern that we saw last year.
Right.
It's interesting. Can I ask it? There's been obviously a slight rise between Lux and the Well and Lucky Day, but it's gone down again for Lucky Day. Do you think that's just a word of mouth thing that episode was potentially looking like a better episode? Do you think, or any idea what the factors might be for that tiny?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of. It does surprise me because generally what happens is that the viewing figures for 1 week are a reflection of the episode the previous week.
Yeah.
Now I thought the Well went down fairly positively, but Lucky Day went down. So
yeah,
I'm not sure whether that actually bears any fruit anymore with Doctor Who. Unfortunately, I think it's now just people are moving away, and we'll see later on how it's not just losing viewers on transmission; it's actually losing them over the 7 days.
And of course, people watch television differently these days, don't they? That's what everyone's
do. Yeah,
of course,
that's exactly it.
Yeah, of course.
That's exactly. That's what they keep telling us, isn't it? Constantly. Unfortunately, it's got through to a lot of people, and they're believing it. But you know, it just shows the show is not being engaged with. It's not attracting viewers. It's done. It's an old show. It's 20 years old.
Absolutely, and there are so few shows in our modern era that make it to 20 years. Okay, this is series 15. The biggest shows in the world don't get to series 15. Some of the biggest comedies in the US during the 80s into the 90s, they never get to 15 series.
Exactly.
So Doctor Who's trying to buck a trend that is just always going to be there. And Doctor Who is a unique show because it can refresh its writing staff, it can refresh its people in front of the camera and feel like a new show every couple of years. But to a general audience, it's still Doctor Who. It's still the same show.
Yeah.
Even if everything changes.
But if you get the wrong people doing the change, it is noticeable, and that's what it is. I mean, it's totally out of touch, I feel, with the British public.
Oh, and if you actively drive your audience away, then that's not going to help either.
Totally. Yeah, with your stars and your production crew, Mark Greaves, you've been waiting there. Thank you so much for your super chat. JT, we will be sticking to the Ncuti handbook. Yeah,
of course.
I like that. That's all to do with Monday, if you don't know what that means. That's our show on Monday. But yeah, the Ncuti handbook. Oh, they're making rules for that now, are they? Yeah. Domgo is saying, oh, that looks like a lovely slide. Just Jordan's here saying, Bedwy has not been well and he's still doing a better job than RTD and his nonsense lot. And Legion of James, I do love the ratings analysis and informed education for the bedwetting echo chamber dwellers. It absolutely is, isn't it? And remember, it's done through fact. It's done through absolute material that's 100% out there from good sources. Woodhouse 122. I'm not going to bother watching the next 2 episodes as I don't want lecturing by black political poets and trans activists. I can see that coming, Woodhouse 122. Make sure you're joining us at 8 o'clock on Sunday. What's wrong with me? Get all my dates mixed up today. 8 o'clock on Sunday for our review of The Story and the Engine. I have to keep looking to see what it's called because it's such a stupid title.
Yeah.
Rory and Cheryl and Friends. It's just tragic how bad viewing numbers are lower than what Rise got replacing the Big Breakfast on Channel 4. Yes, that's very, very true.
Wow.
Oh, that was terrible as well, wasn't it? Awful. And then they tried to bring the Big Breakfast back as well. You can't. It was so 90s. You can't bring it back. You can't do it again. What else we got here as well? Oh, yes. And here's Problem Being saying to us, yes, viewing habits have changed. We don't watch crap anymore. That's very true, isn't it?
Too true.
Very, very true. We don't want the crap either. I think there's this massive. I think it's the beginning of a massive turn with people saying, "Oh, sod all this television. We don't want it at all." You know, we don't want it at all.
I think people now are just at a stage where they just want to be entertained. They want escapism because everything is constantly negative. It's all battles. Which side of the culture war are you on? You know, there's enough actual wars going on, and people need some escapism. And it's the same with the movie industry. People just want to go switch off for a couple of hours in a cinema and be entertained and be, you know, and pass the time without having to worry about all the other stuff that's going on in their lives and in the world. And television, you know, being that platform to lecture and dictate to the populace is not going down well. So
it's not. No.
People are seeing through it again. And when you've got the rival channels like Eden and everything like this and or the equivalent, which are showing fantastic British shows from 10, 20, 30, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, and they're doing better than the current reiteration of Doctor Who. I mean, this is why it's called entertainment. These people used to entertain us. Now they just lecture us, and people are beginning to see through it, I think.
Yeah, people are going back to enjoy what they have always enjoyed.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they're having to go back to stuff from, as you say, 20, 30 years ago, because that's the last time they were entertained.
Exactly.
I'm hoping for the ratings analysis of You and Eden from your Bedware. I hope that's coming.
I hope so. It's a digital channel, so it probably will get recorded. And I'm hoping it'll get decent enough numbers that it'll actually, you know, make it into some of the charts. Yeah.
That would be interesting. If it beats current Doctor Who, that'd be wonderful.
That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, well, smiley people are saying to us, we decide what we want now. We're finding programs from yesterday to get that fun back, like Jason King. That's solid gold camp. Yeah. What can you say about it? Bill Lowry saying to us, I haven't watched any episode from this season, but keep thinking maybe I'm missing a fantastic improvement. Then I watch Who's Views, I see Bedware's ratings analysis and realize I'm right. Honestly, I wouldn't recommend you watch this thing that I'm on. I mean, as we say to Paul, what episode are we on? Because I'm finding this really difficult to get through. I'm so over it already. It's boring. It's not Doctor Who. He's not the Doctor. All the usual stuff. It's awful. I reckon some of these fans, everybody that just go on about how brilliant it is, are just there basically because it says it's Doctor Who, and they're just trying to keep the thing alive. But it's done. It's tired nonsense. Kev, hiya, Kev Gresham. So basically, the overnights are integral to its success, as there seems to be 1.5 million on the 7 days. Bedware.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We've got a few breakdown slides that once again prove that the overnights are pretty crucial to the 7-day number.
As Bedware has been saying for a year now on this show, as we've been looking at all this nonsense with the ratings analysis, look at this one.
Yeah, here we go. So this is, again, fact. These are the lowest rated Doctor Who episodes we're up to 888 episodes of Doctor Who now, fact fans. And these are the lowest 10 in terms of bums on seats watching live as it's transmitted on BBC One. So Lucky Day at 1.51 is officially the least watched episode of Doctor Who broadcast on BBC One as a premiere broadcast.
I think it's interesting if all the top 10 will have all shitty episodes once they push Sea Devils out. That'll be very interesting to get to that. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see Legend of the Sea Devils dropping out that top 10, which is shocking.
Unthinkable, really.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it really?
The next thing about that is the Sea Devils. The editing's appalling. It's like it was done by Mr. Cook, to be honest. But
because the look of the Sea Devils there, you mean, not the actual character of the Sea Devils.
The look themselves are really good. They're really faithful.
Absolutely,
but the story itself and the editing of it is goodness me.
Yeah, and
my understanding is it was cut in terms of length, and
Was that to do? I don't want to dwell on that. Was it to do with the fact there was a change in how the series is going to end regarding to the final episode they had with Jodie, and they may have had bits in that which tied into the end of her era, but they got the extra episode. I think that's my understanding of it. Is that right? Maybe
something like that, but I think they'd planned it for a 60-minute slot or 70-minute slot, and then they were told, no, you got 45 or 50, whatever it ended up being. So they had to chop loads of it out, and so that's why it was edited
so
with a
saving that for a Jodie era collection box set, not
Oh, can you? Why would you bother with those when the actual original ones don't sell? Hello to R. John. The problem with Lucky Day was that from the trailer and promotions, it looked like a soap, so not appealing to those interested in sci-fi. I don't think anybody who's interested in sci-fi is watching this stuff now because it's been a soap for years, in my opinion. I mean, it's just, ugh. And the goat. Was it said already that the engine is a deliberate parallel to Dot and Bubble? Point all white cast, bad all black cast, good. A theme, yeah. Stay with us, the goat, because we're going to be looking at that in this show. We've got all that coming up for you. Killbot Kill is saying, I don't know what you are all on about. Tonight's Doctor Who was brilliant. I'm sure it was. Tonight's Doctor Who. I'm sure tonight's Doctor Who was wonderful. And did you spot the
part one of
Doctor
Inferno, wasn't it? Yes.
Yes.
It should be, yeah.
Did you spot the Doctor in? Oh, of course you bloody spotted the Doctor in it. Even at one point over the last few days, of course, he's in that white T-shirt, isn't he? Because he gets so hot, he puts the T-shirt on.
In Silurians, he's got a white T-shirt on, yeah.
And that was this week, wasn't it? Mark A. Rice is with us saying, I can't remember the last time Doctor Who had a story that wasn't pushing a message. It must be years. It is. Because they started in Capaldi's last season, didn't they?
Good point.
Yeah. Domgo, are you in Glasgow? Because Domgo's saying to us, I need RTD to tell me what's right and wrong and how to think. Then again, I also enjoy shouting at random people in the street and running around George Square in my underpants. I think I've seen you.
Don't we all? Yeah.
I think I've seen him actually in Glasgow doing
in
that.
His underpants, you mean? Okay.
Yeah, running around going rah rah rah, because Glasgow can be like that. So anyway,
especially a bit sunny. Yeah, like I was saying earlier. Yeah.
It can be a little bit odd. Glasgow. And Marine Boy 1966 do watch on TPTV is getting some of the best viewing figures it's had. That speaks volumes. Hockey effects, but great storylines, I'm sure.
I think the Patrick Troughton one was on just the other night there, last week, was it? Or
have I missed
last
it
night,
again?
Rather, yeah. The Patrick Troughton one, you not seen that one? Yeah.
I keep missing it. I must get something that actually tells me when things are on. If only there were TV listings magazines around. Oh, we'll be coming to them later on as well. Right, so what else we got? This one now, Peter Beber, yeah?
Yes. So we're talking specifically about Lucky Day first. So the overnight of 1.51 million. So it was down 350,000 viewers and about 18.8% from the Well, which itself counters the plus 18% increase that Lux to the Well had. But we always try and go beyond that number. And one of the elements is the audience share. So again, this is of all the people with their televisions on in the UK, how many were tuning in to BBC One for Doctor Who? Once again, taking out the Christmas specials because they're kind of anomalies. You can see how, again, it's dropped. Okay, it follows that same pattern of, week one, down for week two, up for week three, and then a drop again. So tracking series 14, but now we're at 12.9%, and that's a record low for overnight share for this era of Doctor Who. So quite troubling. And rather than finding a balance and finding a plateau somewhere, it does seem to be a continuing downward trend. So even if, people have got their televisions on, fewer and fewer are actually turning on BBC One.
I wonder why. I wonder why. The BBC is an absolute horrific mess. They disgust me right now. And of course, I've sent them a complaint this week, haven't I, Who Views, about the homophobia in this nonsense with Danny Minogue on BBC Three called I Kissed a Boy, where they've got all these supposedly young same-sex attracted men and thrown a woman in the mix, and they have to snog her because she calls herself trans man. I think it's disgraceful, the BBC. Right. People are seeing through the BBC more and more. You cannot do that. That's homophobia. That's heterosexuality that they're pressing on these poor lads in there. Either that or they're all bisexual, But I'm so annoyed with the BBC these days. We were talking before we came on air, wasn't we? Apparently, Question Time isn't even live these days, and they edit bits of it out to make other people look possibly a little bit. What is going on with the British Broadcasting Corporation? It needs to go, in my opinion.
Well, this, that last graphic really kind of bears out the fact that fewer and fewer people are watching the BBC because, you could, if you're being generous, you could say, oh, that 1.51 million overnight viewer is just representative of the fact that fewer people were watching television because it was a sunny day. No, when you put it alongside the overnight share, you can see that actually it's not just that the raw number is low, it's the percentage of viewers is low as well. And in Doctor Who's case, declining. So yeah, BBC's got, it's in a world of trouble at the moment in terms of getting people to watch their channels.
Thanks for all your chat, everybody. It's great to see you all. Pete Harrington's in the chat saying hello to us. Bill Larry saying the BBC, that lovely, trustworthy organisation with a statue to Eric Gill at its front door. That's another story completely, isn't it? Woodhouse 122 saying to us, Doctor Who lost out to the hit list on Type Before or Night Before should that be?
I can't remember when the hit list is broadcast, but probably.
I don't know what that is. What's the hit
I
list?
thought the hit list was on Saturday nights, was it not?
It might have been. I mean, that would be even worse if it was a repeat of the.
Yeah.
So it's a TV show, is it?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like a music show, kind of quiz show kind of thing.
Music quiz.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Right. Okay. Matt Sally, when Music King, is saying you're not the only one who sent a complaint. They refused to take mine though because my identity wasn't certain enough. Oh, really? Oh, well, that's a bit ridiculous, isn't it? Mine came back today, Matt, the Salary Music King. I had this receipt come back saying, we've acknowledged your complaint. It may take time to process it. I bet it is, when the whole of the LGB community seems to be kicking off about it. But there you go. We've got Domgo saying, yes, JT, Glasgow born and bred. We have our own TARDIS and Buchanan. You've got several of, haven't you? You've got several of them all over the place. Yeah, so it's good to see you. Good to see you, Domgo. Send me an email, whosviews1@gmail.com. Yes, please do. No Glasgow very well. What else we got here? Oh, Lee Smith saying to us, I stopped watching Question Time years ago when I found out it was not transmitted live. Now, this was news to me today, Lee, because I think something like that, which is an important political show, it should be live for the simple reason it can't be doctored.
Yeah.
And if the BBC now are editing it, that's another reason why #defund the BBC exists, I feel.
I thought it was live because they film it around 8 o'clock in the evening. And then it goes out to 20 to 10, or no, 20 to 11.
20 to 11. Like I think, yeah.
So I thought it was live on the iPlayer, but that might not be accurate. No. I know it's available on the iPlayer before 20 to 11, but whether that's, as you say, a slightly edited version, who knows?
Well, I just think that's like them saying the news won't be live anymore and doctoring it to suit themselves. Oh, hang on a minute, they do that with the live edition as well, though, don't they?
Yeah.
We've also got this, the BBC, the British Bashing Corporation. Dan Wootton, Philip. Dan Wootton doesn't get on with the BBC at all, does he? And Sam's asking us, how does audience share work? My telly is often on, but I'm watching Doctor Who on Blu-ray.
So if your source into your TV is, HDMI or SCART cable or whatever it might be, that's probably a bit too old school, but you know what I mean. Then it wouldn't register as a view of television. It's only if you are connected to a set-top box or a Freeview service that would record it as part of the television, is my understanding. But again, with all these ratings numbers, the explanation of how they come to these figures is not entirely clear.
If they start measuring the Blu-rays you're watching at home, that's a really big brother thing, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Well, yeah, but I think the BBC, as well as our government, are on the way there. So you know.
Well, they're not called smart TVs for nothing, are they? He said conspiracy theorizing there.
Yeah. One of the brilliant things about this show, everybody, thanks for that, Sam. Nice to see you. One of the brilliant things about this show, of course, is we are live. And as you know, when you join us live, Who viewers, regular Who viewers, we get the odd guests coming on to join us. And I'd like to say hello to Careful Trouble 8, who says, of course, a bunch of grifters and bigots are middle-aged old men with neck beards. Well, as I've said before, Careful Trouble 8, one of the brilliant things about getting older is that you have a lot of experience and you can spot a dickhead from a mile off. What's your problem? What do you want to know? Be nice to people in the chat, ask a civilized question, or get out. It's as simple as that, because what we're doing here is reporting facts. So instead of calling people names, instead of attacking us with your juvenile, ridiculous accusations, which I have had more than enough of over my 55 years and over my adult life, and fighting for LGBT same-sex rights, as well as everything else, and as well as in Doctor Who fandom over the last 7 or 8 years. I have more than enough. So what do you want to know? Ask it nicely, and I'll consider you bringing your question up and asking it to the guys. Okay? If you're not interested in that, go away and go to your echo chamber and watch somebody who's actually going to agree with your side of stuff. But don't be coming on my show and calling my friends and everybody in the chat, all my friends there, ots and grifters and all this stuff. Grow up, get a job. Okay, Bedweer. So what we're going to now is this one.
Yeah. So again, these are unconfirmed numbers. My source for these pre-transmission numbers, I don't know where they come from. They're generally included as part of the +7. So when that's calculated, we get these pre-transmission numbers. So how many people watched it on iPlayer from between 8 a.m. when it goes live and before it's transmitted. So we started at 91,000 watching in advance. That's crept up to 189,000 viewers for the Well, and it's dipped slightly for Lucky Day. So the upward trend you could see throughout Series 14 until we got to the series finale stuff. Is that now plateauing around or just under the 200,000 viewers? We shall see. I think it's an interesting element of Doctor Who going forward. I think it's interesting that people got used to the idea of it being on in advance on the iPlayer. But yeah, it's difficult to really draw too many conclusions.
Well, could it be that people were watching the first series with Gatwa in the hopes it was going to at some point get better and they would recognize an episode of Doctor Who, and then it gets to the Christmas thing and they go, it's not going to happen, and they've gone?
Yeah,
I mean, possibly. I think the having it available on the iPlayer before transmission was a new thing last year. So people, as you can see, the sort of growth throughout Series 14 was, possibly as people starting to get used to that idea. Is the same thing happening? Possibly. But I think Doctor Who's going to find an audience and hit a plateau where it's around about a certain figure where it will stay stable. And that'll be particularly obvious in the pre-transmission. So we'll be able to say, right, this is the hardcore. This is, okay, there's 150,000 people that are definitely going to watch it in advance, give or take, 10 to 20,000 who might.
So we're getting very close to the realization and the revealing, if you like, of the actual weekly devout audience, aren't we? Because it's dipping into it. So we've now got rid of practically all the not-we's, I would think. We've got people dipping into it, but the masses have gone. It's losing fans. I mean, if we weren't doing these reviews, I would have given up a couple of weeks ago, to be honest.
Yeah.
So bad. But with them shedding viewers every single week, it's getting there, isn't it? We're soon going to get some sort of reveal of its actual audience, surely.
Yeah, and the Well was it had some good publicity about it. People were saying, "Oh, this one's really good." Rose Ayling-Ellis, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, great cast.
Yeah.
So whether that helped that increase in the pre-transmission number, possibly. Now we've seen a drop. Is it going to continue dropping? Is it going to stay level? I'm really interested to see where those numbers go from here on in.
I'm really, in a sense, ashamed of where these numbers are going to go now, because these are fact to anybody watching that doesn't like facts and truth. These are the lowest figures in Doctor Who's history. These are the lowest figures in the reboot's history. this is over. This is done. There's no point carrying on with this. Kev's saying to us here, I reckon the figure of the watchers will be around 1 million maximum. I think it's this. I'd be very surprised if it's 1 million, to be quite honest, Kev. I mean, how many people are going to the last 2 episodes at the pictures? Not that many from what the sales figures are like.
Well, I think the BBC are delusional. If they're putting together both the iPlayer figures and the overnights together, thinking that is the real figure of the audience. Because, as we said ourselves, if people are watching it again and again and again and again, then it's not a true indication of ratings. So how does that work?
Yeah,
so,
yeah. I mean, I have seen some reporting of this stuff where they've tried to combine the pre-transmission with the overnight number,
right,
as a way of trying to sort of artificially boost the overnight number, which is a bit weird, but is kind of an admission that they are concerned about that overnight number dropping and not being very big, so they're trying to add the pre-transmission number. It's like, yeah, but the pre-transmission number doesn't come in officially until the +7 rating. So there is, again, we've talked about Cope previously, but if you're trying to combine, trying to add another 172,000 viewers, in the case of Lucky Day, on top of your overnight to try and artificially inflate that, that's fine. That's, if that's how you want to report it, then great. But you're still going to get to a +7, which is not particularly strong, and as we'll see when we talk about the Wells +7, it's going down.
Have we clarified this when I ask whether or not you can watch it for 5 minutes and that counts as a view? If you watch the entire episode, that would count as a view, but 5 minutes counts as a view of an episode. Is that what that doesn't seem fair?
I don't think it's even 5 minutes,
analysis, surely.
I'm not even sure. I think it might be a percentage of the running time.
Right.
But it's difficult to get an answer on this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Because no one really wants to, confirm.
To commit to it.
Yeah. Basically.
Yeah.
We've got Robert Payne's. Personally, I think, isn't it interesting that, this 5 episodes into the series last year, people had started to talk about, the ratings. I mean, production people, the BBC had started to say, don't worry about the ratings. Or I remember RTD came out last year as well. So, we're a bit disappointed, but look at these stats we've got from the iPlayer. Nothing this year. Who views is there? Because none of them are there. The studios are dark. They've all gone on to other things, allegedly. It's all. So
Russell was on Morning Live this morning on BBC One. Yeah, and talking about the other half of the series. And a Morning Live made me laugh. They do like an aerobics exercise thing at the end, and they get someone from Strictly on to do some dance moves, and he was at the back dancing. It was very funny. So yeah,
I've never heard of it. Never heard of it.
It'll be on the Tube of You, and you'll be able to see that clip and the interview with him on that if you fancy it. But yeah,
I don't want to see him trying to move that himself around.
They had a great clip of him on Play School, where he was a Play School presenter for about 5 minutes. Yeah.
He did it once, didn't he? He did Play School once, I think, and then
did he really?
He did all those years ago. Robert Payne is saying people finding out they can watch it beforehand in private without the embarrassment of being seen watching it by family. Yes, that could be a point. And Mudcrab is saying, amusing. How many of the preview people are review channels trying to get a response out quickly? Well,
there's an element to that.
Yeah. I mean, us, Mudcrab, we do that. I mean, we watch it so that we can come back and review it. I mean, we're not in any rush to review it. We'll stay with.
But I certainly think some channels are doing it. They watch it at 8 o'clock, and by 10 o'clock there's a review out of it. The same day.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, and other sites are trying to get their reviews out, and if they're written, then it gives them more time to do that. Others are just trying to generate conversation throughout the day, throughout Saturday.
It's all for clicks now, isn't it? It's all for clicks.
Basically.
Get the clicks and get one up on everybody. I couldn't be bothered. Could you, Who viewers? I couldn't be bothered. I mean, I mean, if it was proper Doctor Who and I'd loved it, I would have to come on and say, oh my God, but it's not, is it? It's really not. And quite frankly, it takes me 24 hours to get over it.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, you need a drink, don't you, really? And an ice cream or some chocolate or something like that.
Something to take the taste out of your mouth, certainly, yeah.
It's terrible.
I'd be interested to see your gut reactions to these episodes, JT, but perhaps 24 hours to kind of let it sit and
You wouldn't want to
think about it.
I can give you an impression.
Shame we can't do a live watch along. That'd be superb. That'd be wonderful. Yeah.
You don't want to see my reaction.
I think, yeah. So
it's all like,
yeah.
No. Duncan, hello, Duncan, the Funky Evans. How are you, Funky? The figures it's getting, the BBC may as well have dropped the whole season at once on iPlayer. That's an interesting way to look at it. Anthony Parkinson saying the Whovians swear blind the iPlayer advanced viewings are why the overnights are low, and yet they're at or around 10%. That's all. They're going to try and find any excuse, I'm afraid, aren't they?
We've said this before. I don't think the preview on iPlayer works for the series, really, because it's not event TV anymore. We've covered that already, but that's clutching at straws, isn't it, really?
No, that's the thing with television ratings are very much hampered by the fact that very few things are watch it live, you can't miss it.
Yeah.
It's sort of event TV, as you said. Gavin and Stacey was a massive one, at Christmas and things like that. But we've had big dramas, but largely it's major sporting events that are the big draws when it comes to ratings for TV watching. And that's because you want to watch it live because it's sport. And that will probably be the case. And this is why streaming services are trying to get into the sports side of it, because they can see that that's, the stuff you want to watch live. So making stuff available throughout the day is just proving that, okay, well, this is not sit down and watch it, you don't want to miss it kind of show.
As we said, though, it was either... Well, it was one of the shows we've just done, one of the recent shows. It was one of Sundays, or it might have been headlines just a couple of nights ago. There was an article in one of the papers we were looking at, which basically said that this whole thing of dropping Doctor Who on the iPlayer beforehand had led to the demise of the show. Because Doctor Who shouldn't be broadcast like that, even in the modern day. It should be on as a family unit, as a whole thing, where everybody comes together at the same time. No, I certainly agree with that. I think if you've got a decent series of Doctor Who, a big series of Doctor Who, you put it on at the right time, on the right day, and everybody comes to it, and you have that experience of watching it with millions of others. That was one of the thrills about being a Doctor Who fan. You knew that everybody was watching, even if you went to the pub to watch it. I remember in Tennant's time, pubs had Doctor Who on, certain pubs, and Doctor Who groups would get together and watch it together in the pub. Lovely stuff. And they go through the journey of the show itself. Does that happen today?
Well,
no.
A consistent transmission time would be a start as well.
Yeah.
Blooming would, yeah. Come on, BBC.
Mind you, nowadays, when we used to watch it live, if you missed it, and that was it.
Yes, exactly. And we had to wait for nearly 20 odd years to get the blooming...
Or ropey pirate copies, remember them? So,
none of us know anything about that, of course. Mark Reeves, thank you for your super chat. I predict that the cinema will be sellouts. Mind you, they will be advertising The Empire Strikes Back, then lock the doors and trapping the poor souls inside. Yeah. Revenge of the Sith, of course, the 20th anniversary re-release, massive business. Massive. Did so well. Huge amounts of money. That says it all, doesn't it? That says it all. Let's see. Apparently,
and people hate that trilogy.
Well, not anymore, because it's come out. I quite like it. I really like it, actually. But
I think what's happened with that trilogy. It's the same thing that's happened to a bit like Current Who. Other eras have been reevaluated. Likewise, the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy, was conceived to be, we thought was not very good, but the other ones, the recent ones, oh my God, they're like the originals in comparison. You know what I mean? So incredible. Yeah,
totally agree. Because those recent ones, what was it, 7, 8, 9, were terrible. Absolutely terrible.
I like the first one.
Oh no, it was just a rehash of the first one. My first.
Oh yeah, that's why I liked it.
Oh, I didn't know what they did. Why? Oh no. Anyway, it's another show. No, I could talk about that for 2 hours of why I didn't like it. Absolutely awful. I wanted my money back from my lollipop. But anyway, thank you for that, Mark. Domgo is saying, Bedouia, do you have the ratings for Classic Who on You and Eden?
I haven't seen any yet, but I am keeping an eye out for them.
We will be keeping an eye out for them, absolutely, because we will be putting them in if we get them.
Now, I have to say, though, that's on like 3 times a day.
Exactly.
That has to be counted. So it'll be like 4 million or something. Yeah, from
yeah,
week. Yeah, so
it's gonna spread the audience a little bit. So it's difficult. I mean, for a bit of context, the most watched thing on should we say 5 out of the top 6 of programs broadcast on sort of digital multi-channels were sport. So snooker on BBC4, the Formula One, football on Sky Sports, Europa League football on TNT Sports. Those were the sort of highs for digital channels. That was the week 28th of April to the 4th of May that I can see.
There you go. Wow.
Immediately.
Wow. Just Jordan saying to us, guys, I'm usually a bottle of Bailey's Deep or Aldi's Own when watching these episodes. Good for you, because you need it, don't you? You really need it.
Yeah.
Just make sure you've got enough straws. And Heretic is saying to us, doesn't matter what the figures are tomorrow, it won't be good enough, which means RTD will call us all is for not watching his No Whites episode. I'm actually quite concerned about the fallout of this one, but we're going to be coming back to that, Heretic. Please stay with us. Snooker did well for the BBC last week, said Anthony Parkinson. Snooker always did do well for the BBC. Always. I was always very surprised when you heard, it had 15 million watching the snooker, because it was always on at a certain time as well. And I thought 15 million people were up at that time of night watching this. And it was incredible. So that's amazing to see. But again, do you know what the attraction of snooker is? Not just because people actually like the sport. No politics in it usually. There's no big mouth loud stars. There's no presenter in there who needs to kick off every 2 minutes to say what he or she is thinking. That's the beauty of it. You can just be entertained and get into that particular sport, can't you? Amazing.
I mean, if you want some more context, let's pull up these numbers. 1.86 million viewers watched the Snooker World Championships on Sunday night on BBC Two. So that's more than Doctor Who.
A lot more than Doctor Who. It's a snooker.
Match of the Day on BBC One on Saturday night got 1.56 million. And a share of 22.5%.
Well, you see, now Match of the Day though is another example of having problems because of big mouthed presenter who got too big for his boots because he was earning millions from the
one who's a crisp prediction. That's the one you're talking about, isn't it? Yeah.
I can't stand him. Shut up, GL. What's it?
So the top 10 sports programs for the 28th of April to the 4th of May, apart from Match of the Day on the Saturday, which was second, and Match of the Day 2 on the Sunday, which was fourth, everything else was Snooker World Championships on BBC Two.
Thank you for all your comments. Keep it going in the chat. We've got Carwin saying to us here, people have had the ability to catch up view a show since the invention of the VHS. So I don't buy the iPlayer excuse as valid. Michael Hallett is with us, guys, saying they will never admit it's just crap. R2-D2 is a big PMSL to fail, like that unsinkable ship, the Titanic. Remind me how that worked out exactly. Cyberman Strikes saying people look at you funny at the water cooler if you say you still watch Doctor Who at work. There has been a massive change. There really has. Matt the Silent Way Music King, the Star Wars prequel trilogy was the best trilogy. Go and stand in the corner. Garbage is with us, reminding you of the email address to get in touch with us, whosviews1@gmail.com. Thank you very much. What's that going on? Aaron is with us. Hello, Aaron Sutherland. My son, who is 8, watched the first 3 episodes and didn't ask to watch Lucky Day, and then moved straight on to The Girl in the Fireplace, which I don't like that one either, but at least well, I don't know, but
I
Aaron,
like that one.
Yeah,
I like that one.
Well, you two would, you big softies. Bleh, bleh, bleh. Graham is saying, I remember being gutted beyond belief when my VCR timer didn't record episode 2 of The Two Doctors on original transmission. I never saw it for absolutely years. Didn't you?
Yeah, I hear that when you did that, and your timer, you clipped the end of it or and missed the beginning of it. That was horrible when that happened.
I've still got it, so no. Demorpin, nice to see you. All those people in the UK watching Doctor Who over breakfast and all those people here in the US staying up till 4 a.m. to watch are really carrying the numbers. And we've seen, again, nothing from Disney about how it's doing on Disney, is there? There's nothing out there. Kev Gresham saying the BBC are fudging the figures just like what they did with the Gallup chart back in the day. Oh, well, that's controversial. And what else we got? Oh, listen, it's so good to see you all. It really is. You're onto Star Wars now, some of them as well, of course. So we'll move on. And where were we up to, Bedway? Let's go on to one of your we've done that one, haven't we? So that is this is the rating +7, isn't it?
Yeah. So we now have the +7 day for the well. So slightly better. So we are up 230,000 viewers, 234,000 viewers from Lux. So heading in the right direction, but still puts it as the second lowest +7 rated episode since 2005. That's an increase of 1.374 million from the overnight. So 74% increase, which is decent. But it had a slightly better number to work with to start with. But yeah, second lowest +7 rating post 2005. So
wow,
worse than Dot and Bubble, but not quite as bad as Lux. So pros and cons.
That's what I call, for them, grasping at
Ever the
straw.
optimist.
Well done.
Yeah, if you want to see a positive pattern, then there's one there for you.
Yeah. Before you ask who viewers, we'll move straight on to this one. Go for it, Bedway.
Yeah, so this is our comparison to the classic era. So the argument that the +7 rating in the modern era is how you should accurately compare the classic series. But even when we do use that yardstick, it doesn't favor brilliantly because, okay, The Well was watched by more people over 7 days than Battlefield Part 1 was on transmission. But it was worse than every other classic era episode on transmission. And this is over 7 days now, so this is factoring in your pre-transmission iPlayer watchers, your people who catch up over the course of that week. It's however way you look at it, it's not grabbing an audience. It just isn't.
It's
I
not.
think if you calculated the repeat of Battlefield in 1993, then that would be 4 years later, so you'll get an increase from that, and it'll still be doing better than what they're doing.
But as you and Ian have said, and others in the chat have said, and everybody suggested throughout our shows over the last year, you could also try and ask how many times did somebody watch it on a VHS or the DVD or now
just
on the
maybe
iPlayer.
recorded it on the VHS or Betamax that week or that night. Yeah,
exactly.
And in 1989, that would have been quite a good chunk of people.
Huge. Because of Corrie.
I reckon they're going to have at least 2 million more easily. I would have thought.
Definitely.
Easily.
Yeah, definitely. Well, didn't they work something out by saying that if they took into account all this, the McCoy era was still reaching 6 or 7 million, similar to the Colin Baker era had done.
Yeah.
Well, I can't remember where I got all that from, but it was somewhere, and I just thought that was about right, really. Because
the same arguments that we're seeing being trotted out for this current era of the show. If you use those same metrics and those same measurements for that era of the late 80s, then you're probably going to see a more favorable, because the narrative is that viewers were dwindling by the late 80s and people weren't interested in McCoy or whatever, no matter how good it was. Which, as we've pointed out many times, is because it's opposite Corrie, and people had that option, or increasingly had that option to video record and watch it later. But those recordings weren't reflected in the same way that now we have, our digital set-top boxes and iPlayer streams that count towards those numbers.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, this is why the system for me just doesn't work. It just doesn't see. I think they changed the system to make it look better. But let's face it, the programs across the board are rubbish. Where's the quality now? Where are the giants? Where are the ground peg, programs now that people are gravitating to? Your Saturday night has gone right back to where it was once upon a time before Doctor Who came back, where it's just weak as water. Remember, Lorraine Heggessy said one of the reasons she wanted Doctor Who back because she was sick and tired of pink and blue neon sets. It's like that again now, isn't it? It's gone right back to it. They've reverted to type. It's
Yeah.
bloody awful, absolutely shocking.
It's
What else we
it's
got
cheap
here?
television if it shows, and that kind of cheaper than doing drama, isn't it? That's the thing.
Yeah, yeah. We've got Graham saying to us, "I love the extended version of Battlefield on the DVD. It was also on the the VHS, wasn't it? I seem to recall." And hooray, Battlefield has left the fight, says Pete Harrington. Just about, absolutely. With Legion of James coming in with the hashtag justice for Battlefield. Don't forget, everybody, once this latest nonsense is out of the way with Doctor Who, we are going to be reviewing Battlefield in a tribute to Gene Marsh. So make sure you have
Can we
subscribed to
do
the channel.
a rating section and add? Can you add the rating for Battlefield and the repeat together and see what it makes up? That'd be great if you could.
I'll try and see if I can dig out the repeat.
The
I'm
way
sure
it's going,
in the handbook. I think somewhere. I think yeah.
Probably is, yeah.
The way it's going, by the way, everybody, we're going to be celebrating Battlefield's emergence from down there to up there. By the way it's going with this current nonsense. Simon Mills, hello Simon. This shouldn't count for Classic Who, and it was only shown once. The reason we're doing it is because there is an awful lot. Well, there's not. No, I'm going to say there's an awful lot of noise when it comes to this, and has been for the last few years now, where various fans will come along and actually bring the classic series into it. Now, for a long time, they were all saying, "Oh, this series is doing better than McCoy's did." So that's the reason we bring this in. So we've got that comparison, so that anybody that's tuning in or anybody that's new to the channel who is on that wavelength, we can actually say, well, look where it is now. This thing is not performing. It's actually doing worse than Doctor Who did in its original wind down in 88 and 89.
Yeah, so basically, those who want to defend the show, and they are perfectly entitled to do so, they say that we can't read into anything when it comes to the overnight number because the overnight number doesn't reflect the different TV landscape. You've got to, be reflective of people's different viewing habits in terms of the iPlayer and things like that, which is fine. So this is why we are expanding that scope and comparing the plus 7 day ratings for these episodes of Doctor Who with your overnight transmissions for the classic era. And whether that's a fair reflection or not is up to you, but I just want to present that information. And if you want to make that argument of, oh well, Ncuti's still outperforming McCoy, well, even if we factor in iPlayer, pre-transmissions, all that sort of stuff, it's not doing as well, even when we try
and this is fact. This is here. It's here for you to see.
And it is just counting. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It is just counting. This is not. We're not. Providing interpretations too much. It is presenting the context of the numbers.
And as you said, Bill, you're giving a neutral opinion because you've not watched the episode, so you've no bias.
No, I don't care.
In the game.
I've not watched any of this. So I'm just.
You're the lucky one. You're the lucky one. I'm telling you.
Mary, we've got Carwin here saying Disney said that it was in the top 5 of their shows on day of broadcast, which could mean it was in the top 5 all day or just for 2 minutes. It's just word salad to not say it's not great. Third Dr. Andrew, you can't compare New Who ratings to classic. The way people watched is not comparable tech and population wise. Just stop it. I wish they would, but they don't. They keep going. So, but we think it's fun anyway. And I know you're not shouting third actor. Yeah, no, I do that sometimes with those things as well. What else? Rory and Cheryl saying the viewing figures for Sylve were going up by the end as Cartmel plan was starting to work. The Cartmel plan. I've got a headache just thinking about the Cartmel plan.
Not quite, but yeah.
Not quite, but it was on the way. A lot of love here in the chat, guys, for Battlefield. Saint194, Bedweer, if I record Doctor Who on my Virgin TiVo box, does it count as a live view?
If you watch it live, yes. If you watch it at some point during the 7 days, no. Well, it won't be so it won't be live as in figured into the overnights. You'd have to be watching directly from BBC One. But if you record it and watch it at some point, then it counts towards the +7. So this is why we incorporate the +7 ratings into those comparisons with classic era stuff. So
exactly. Thank you for that, Bedouin. Thank you for your question there, Saint 194. And thank you to the chat for your super chat. Series of Who's Views Star Wars rants videos when. Honestly, you wouldn't want to hear me. I am so angry over what they did with those final three, and we know more are coming, but those I went to see the first one with full of hope and optimism and looking forward to it, and I came out and was nearly sick. And I wasn't very impressed. I forced myself to go to the one that came out after, which I can't even remember now. The one with the red cover on the Blu-ray. I was so bored during that one. I nearly walked out. It was only because I was with people that I didn't. But I was so angry with that. I thought, when's this going to start? What was all that stuff on that alien planet? You don't. And I never saw the last one. Refused. So you don't want to. You really don't want to hear me rant about those things.
At that time, the only one I really like is Rogue One, which is kind of
Rogue One.
Yeah, I like
Rogue One. I do like.
Yeah,
Rogue One is no, actually, Rogue One is coming up to a 10th anniversary, and we might
is
actually
really
do a review.
God?
Yeah, because we've got Andor season 2, of course, on the Disney Channel, which I haven't seen yet, and that leads into Rogue. Now, apparently, what I was reading today is allegedly the rumor is in the Star Wars fans, what they're saying is that apparently there's a version of the Andor finale going to go to the cinema, so that it's on before a re-release of Rogue One.
Wow.
Now, I would probably go to that. So it means I've got to watch the Andor series at some point.
I've seen the first series. I quite liked it. It's quite serious, which is good.
And Scotland looked great on it, didn't it? Because it was filmed in
Scotland.
Scotland.
Yeah.
But I haven't finished it. So anyway, stay with us here on Who's Views. Anything can happen on this channel. Anything. Because we just don't care anymore. Anything can happen on this channel. Tom Garber's with us. Battlefield was on Wednesdays opposite Corrie. Night and day to compare the two. Yeah. Do you remember the days? You had to make sure you were in a house that was going to let you watch Doctor Who.
I have to watch it on a black and white portable instead in another room. Yeah.
You know, there is an argument that primetime Saturday night is not the peak slots that it once was.
No, exactly. Oh, lots of talk about that. So yeah, we've got lots coming up for you as well. Lots to talk about. Battlefield. For some reason, the generation game is now in the chat as well. I don't know where that's come from. Star Wars is in there. Somebody's saying there as well that the generation game needs a good host. I'm available. I'd love to. I used to love the Gen game. Bruce, Larry, and Jim. Yeah. 3 favorites of mine. What a show that was. I reckon that could actually still work today.
There's a great episode of Jim Davis and one with Colin Baker turns up. Have you seen that one?
That's right. Yes, I remember. I remember watching it. Yeah. I remember that. And Colin turns up. Oh, look good. Stephen Alries, hello, love. How are you? If you follow the 5-minute per viewership numbers, surely you'd take the lowest number as a cursor as to how many fans watch all the way through. I dare say these episode figures are even lower.
It's possible. It's possible, but we're just working with the official numbers that are published by the BARB and various platforms that report this stuff. That's all we can go off.
The BARB, the BBC got connections with them in terms of how do they fund part of that? Yeah,
they're all kind of connected because obviously, from the BBC's perspective, they need to know how their programs are doing. The BARB need access to iPlayer data in order to, calculate these numbers. So, it's a two-way kind of relationship.
So the BBC kind of fund this, is what I'm saying,
Oh, who knows? It's all, maybe not officially, maybe,
Who knows? Say no more. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we'll try and find
out. But then
out.
ITV probably do as well because they.
I think so. I think they do. I think the 3. Well, say the 3, the 5 now. I think they have like a membership sort of contribution. I'm sure that's how. Somebody in the chat, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure I heard that a long time ago that they would invest in the BARB. Woodhouse 122 is reminding me that Coronation Street in 1989 was when evil Alan Bradley was at his worst. Those episodes in Blackpool, Woodhouse 122, are fabulous. Oh, do you know I have to reenact that, everybody, when I'm in Blackpool all the time? I have to go.
What a way for Marco Polo to go! Terrible.
Yeah, because explain to those that don't know, Corrie, Alan Bradley was
Marco Polo. Yeah, in Marco Polo. Yeah, season 1.
Yeah,
proper Doctor.
Saint 194. Well, they tried the Sunday evening slot, thinking it was best in Saturday, and it still didn't work. I think that was another reason why it may have failed because at that period of time, Saint 194, it just wasn't another unpopular Doctor, so it's had a knock-on effect.
Yeah, but other dramas have done well on, Sunday evening has actually become more of a location for drama now, in British TV.
Yeah.
Nothing to do that, but never mind.
Yeah, Kirsty's just saying that we are all just a bunch of nerds. Love it. If I am correct,
Yeah,
Mrs. Wifey, you haven't seen Battlefield right yet, has she? I'm sure this would be a first for her when we review it.
Oh, that'll be fun.
I'm sure, because part of what Whose Views is doing, of course, is we're trying to educate Kirsty with old Doctor Who's.
yeah. She's like the Eliza Doolittle of Doctor Who fandom.
Yeah,
isn't
she is, isn't she?
Professor
Yeah.
Higgins to her Doolittle. Yes.
And I'm sure Battlefield is one of those she's never seen before. Don't even joke. Maybe David Tennant could give the Generation Game a go. Don't joke. Don't.
He's got his own show and it's not being watched either. So
no, exactly. Yeah. Absolutely. Our John is with me now. This is what I was talking about before. Our John, BBC is now promoting gay conversion therapy. I Kissed a Boy. Their gay dating show is including a woman in the current series. They're forcing the same-sex attracted men into heterosexuality. Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
If it's not complicated enough, let's be honest. Yeah,
it's just awful. Absolutely awful what they're doing. What's this from Kev? JT. Shut That Door with Larry was on Red Wing last week. It was brilliant. Diana Dawes he was interviewing, and his monologue's so good. He and Diana Dawes, they were great chums. Diana Dawes, another legend. Oh my God, I love Diana Dawes. What a glamorous woman she was. Absolutely.
Yeah.
God, we were so lucky, weren't we, Paul, to grow up when we grew up. Really.
Yeah, there's a thing on Talking Pictures TV called I think it's called Tell Us Another One. And it's interviews they have celebrity actors and comedians and performers on it, and they tell anecdotes. And she was on it, John Pertwee's been on it, different people. It's really fascinating getting all the theatrical anecdotes or film anecdotes, whatever, on these shows. They're really good. So it's Tell Me Another, I think it's called, Talking Pictures TV. And lots of nostalgia there.
Well, there you go. There you go. Right, so yeah, lots of love for Battlefield and Star Wars and everything. We've gone off on a tangent again, everyone, but let's get back to looking at the ratings with Bedweer, and we're up to one of my favourite slides. We're up to the lovely pretty pictures now, everybody. Here we go.
Yeah, so this is our cumulative bar chart. So the blue column on the bottom is our overnight rating, and our green additions are the +7s that we have so far. And what's really interested me from this particular slide is the fact that the increases are now going down. So we had 1.52 million added to the overnight for the Robot Revolution. That dropped to 1.42 million for Lux. And now it's dropped to 1.37 million for the Well. So it does suggest that if that downward trend continues, that, maybe the pre-transmission number might go up. But maybe Doctor Who's losing viewers, not just on our overnights and our on transmission, but also on our catch up as well. So it's losing numbers and viewers when it's broadcast, and beyond that, when people have the opportunity to catch up with it, they're not taking that opportunity.
That's very telling as well.
Yeah,
that's I'm going to show that again. Look at that, everybody. That is so telling. Then,
plus you've lost. You've dropped from 1.52 to 1.37. That's in 3 episodes. That's quite a drop.
It is,
when you haven't got big numbers to work with to start with.
Wow, read into that what you want to, but I think it's pretty telling here. It's what we've been saying. It's not connecting. There's no audience, and it's not just the great British public now that have disappeared. It was it's the fans. The fans have gone.
I think historically as well, as it gets further into the summer, it tends to do poorer, doesn't it, because of the good weather. So if that continues as well, traditionally it's got lower and lower, hasn't it? So where's it going to go?
Yeah. The problem was back then when it started originally, of course, it had 13 or 14 episodes to hold it up.
Yeah, and it kind of go up and down, didn't it? Yeah. Kind of.
But this time now it's only 8 for whatever reason.
Yeah, I think at the start of the series we compared sort of season openers, but the general trend for modern series post 2005 as you say, they all seem to start around Easter time.
Yeah.
And for 13 weeks, you'd get in towards the tail end of summer. So there would be a downward trend throughout the series, but then it would pick up for the series finales.
Yeah.
And that's still the case. When we looked at our very first slide, we saw our series 14 numbers, and that there is a pickup towards the end for the last two episodes. But it's still following that same pattern. But I think what's really interesting is, as we've seen from that latest slide, is if the increases to +7s are dropping and continue to drop, then again, it's more evidence and context. I'm sorry, people that want to defend the show.
It's pure.
It's not doing well. It's not just. You can argue that the overnights don't matter. Fine, okay, they're going down. We've tried to give variations beyond the raw numbers. We've looked at the overnight shares and how that's trending downwards. Sorry, that's just the way the line's going. But if we're also seeing that drop in the increases to +7s, then that's another really bad sign that it's not engaging enough with any audience or enough of an audience.
I agree. I totally agree. And wouldn't it be, as we were saying in the chat earlier, the season finales, there's so much emphasis put on the importance of those two episodes, isn't there?
Yeah.
What if they go down below 1 million?
I don't think that would happen. I do think there will be an uplift for the series finale, because it's always done that. We've always had that.
But what if it doesn't? What would they come back? Because everything's going down. I mean, tomorrow we've got the story in the engine coming along, so we're going to have another look. That might go up.
Yeah.
I doubt it, but it might do. It might stay where it is.
I think there is, though, a possibility how they advertise this. If Ncuti is going and that is genuine, that's happening, and they may advertise it as the end for him, that will potentially generate more viewers. It has in the past.
Do you think so? For
Possibly.
a doctor that doesn't like it, did it work for Whittaker? Because people didn't like Whittaker. She did her last.
That's a good point. I think Power of the Doctor didn't do that well in the ratings, as far as I remember. Yeah,
it did okay. It did all right. I mean,
did it upturn though, Bedouin? Did it go up?
Yeah, there's always an uplift for
A regeneration
episode, because people are curious. People want to see what causes that doctor to regenerate. If there is a regeneration episode, then you're more likely to get a big villain in it, as well.
Well, I swear he's going to break a nail, and that'll be it. That's what causes it.
I mean, for context, so overnight, the Power of the Doctor, which was a unique special, it was a one-off special, but that just got over 4 million, so 4.04 million, and a audience share of 21.7%, which are numbers they would absolutely kill for right now.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah, totally.
And then it got up over 7 days. It got up to 5.3, and then ultimately 5.51 million over 28 days. So again, numbers they would absolutely kill for. And that was, okay. The previous episode before that was the Legend of the Sea Devils.
Yeah.
So not great. Not great. And then the Flux series was around the sort of 3.8 million-ish. So there was a little uptick for a regeneration episode, and that's pretty consistent with.
Have you got on your fingertips the ratings for Eva the Daleks, the last Dalek one, the New Year's special one they did? Did that do quite well? Better than
Eva the Daleks? 3.21, better than I mean, everything was better than Legend of the Sea Devils.
You've proved that, haven't you? Yeah.
Apart from Lux, obviously, clearly.
But Eva the Daleks, overnight of 3.21 was down on what Flux all 6 episodes of Flux got. So it wasn't.
So I wonder if the regeneration, the Tenant factor as well, could have affected Power of the Doctor a little bit, and all the hype behind the 60th, all that kind of stuff, wasn't it? Yeah, just about coming up to 60th.
Did we know? I don't remember knowing what was going to happen with it, because there was this.
No, I hadn't heard of anything about these old actors coming back for it. But then, because I remember I wasn't watching it, I was not interested at all. but I didn't see any publicity about old actors coming back or anything like that. I knew there was going to be a Doctor Who for the BBC's anniversary.
Yeah.
Which eventually I heard, oh, that's Whittaker's last one. And I thought, well, that makes sense because that's at that point
I think the Tennant appearance at the end leaked out though. I think, didn't it?
I can't remember because I remember there being speculation as to whether it was going to be. Did we know Ncuti was coming in then?
Well, we did. We knew Ncuti Gatwa was going to be the Doctor, didn't we? But we also knew David Tennant was coming back, so it just seemed like
David Tennant was coming back.
We
yes, that's right. Because we didn't know how these specials were going to play out. Because we weren't sure if they were going to be 3 standalone specials with 10 and Donna.
Yeah.
And so Jodie was going to regenerate into Ncuti, and then we'd get some specials as an aside.
Yeah.
But as it turned out, he became the 14th Doctor, and it's all gone south since then. But never mind. So there was an intrigue factor in the regeneration.
I think it might happen again potentially with Ncuti's departure for the audience to tune in. Yeah, maybe.
I honestly think it was
if they decide to
it was the
like
public.
Yeah,
I really don't think it was the public. I think they were gone by then, and then they may have dipped back in for Tennant and thought, oh, this is rubbish, especially that first one with the abomination that it was with the Star Beast and that pronoun nonsense, and so out of date now, of course, and now that reality's shifting back again. I think it was probably fans giving it a go because Tennant was back. Maybe some members of the public, but it's hard to say. Didn't work though, whatever. Peter Harrington is saying a regeneration would be take that all over again. This is my point. It's not just the fact that will may upset a lot of people. The fact that it looks like it's going to come off for at least a year. That might upset a lot of people as well. And I don't think some of these people...
Listen, we had to wait 18 months. That was fine.
Yeah. I just don't think they can handle it. Bill Lowry is saying people will view the finale just to make sure the bugger has gone. And Neville is saying to us, I've heard it said that the ratings aren't so important as its profitability, but how they determine its profitability is unclear. I very much doubt Disney would tell them. But to be quite honest, they won't. And also, if it's anything like the Fox Universal deal back in 95 into 96, they don't get any of it anyway because it's still a BBC Studios property. Yeah. It's theirs. It's just licensed to other people. They are very.
I suppose it's based on territory sales, isn't it? I mean, if they're selling, whoever buys Disney Plus in whatever region of the world they're in, will determine how much they make from it. For Disney itself, I mean, the
BBC Studios knows how much money it can earn from Doctor Who because it had a taster from 2005 to 2010. Maybe even 11. It had a taste of how much money was going to come in through all the merchandise that was around. Look at this room. It's absolutely ridiculous. That can be the same again. They're not going to sign any sort of deal where they have to give a percentage of merchandising rights away because that goes into the show. It goes into the keeping BBC Studios afloat. It goes into staffing. It goes into all these things.
Yeah.
It'd be a very silly deal they do with a co-production team to say, you'll get so much of this profit, especially when they're doing something like a Dalek, because 50% of that profit already has to go to the Terry Nation estate.
Yeah.
Not so much for everybody else, because they learned very quickly with Terry Nation never to sign that sort of deal ever again, and didn't. But no, lots. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? It makes you wonder.
But I think it's an interesting point. If there is a regeneration at the end of this series, with a fade to black or whatever it's going to be, then why do they not just aggressively market that and try and get some of the general audience back?
Yeah, but I don't think they care. Well, to be honest, I think there must have been some sort of hope, if you like, some sort of excitement over RTD, Tennant and Tate coming back. But we've said many times, the BBC Studios, Bad Wolf, whoever, they just let RTD run riot because he was the big know-all about Doctor Who. He knew what the fans wanted. He knew what the public wanted. He's the genius writer of the decade, of the century, whatever you want to call it. And they just let him do. We've shown it on the show. They shouldn't have. They should have reined him in.
Yeah.
It's their own fault, quite frankly. They messed it up. And who suffers? We've suffered as fans. The British public has suffered. Television has suffered because there's not
a series has suffered. Yeah.
That's why it needs the rest. Final slide from you now, Bedouia, and it's this one.
Yeah, so another of our favorites on this channel.
Coming up.
We have the overnight rating in blue and the increase to +7. So, we've just seen on the previous slide that for the well, we had 1.374 million contributing to the +7, and with a overnight of 1.86 million for the well, that means that the overnight figure makes up 58% of the +7, and it's the same pattern. So for all those people that want to say the overnights don't matter, it's the pre-transmission, it's the iPlayer numbers. Here it is. More than 50% of the +7 number is made up of the overnight figure. So yeah, the overnight figure, pretty important.
Yes, and you've been saying this for a while, and there it is.
I keep banging my head on about this because
It's true.
They keep going on about, oh, the overnights don't matter. The overnights don't matter. It's all about the iPlayer, blah, 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 blah. This is how the numbers stack up.
Yeah.
The bulk of your +7 figure comes from the overnight.
Exactly. And it adds to whatever happens. Yeah. And it's so logical to understand that. So I don't understand why there's this blinkered thing going on. That I think this came about in the Chibnall era where they said, oh, the overnights don't matter. And it was somebody in production that said the overnights don't matter to that person, but they do to the bigger picture, and they do to people who are called accountants, who put the stuff together to say, because that's entertainment today is run by far left activists and accountants who will sign things off. And if you don't get the right thing, bang, you're done.
And this isn't interpretation. It's just maths. I'm sorry. It just is. We had an overnight of 1.86. We have an increase, so additional viewers beyond that of 1.37. One number's bigger than the other, and it's the overnight number which is bigger. If it was the other way around, then yes, your argument would be correct, and that okay, the bulk of Doctor Who's audience is coming from people watching outside of transmission, watching in advance, all that sort of stuff. But it's not. The numbers clearly see that your overnight is crucial and is making up the bulk of it. So if our overnight is going down, this is why we keep banging on, every week about why the overnight, keeps going down, because it's so crucial to our +7. And when we eventually get +28 day numbers, we'll see, maybe in weeks 2 to 4, Doctor Who finds an audience. I can't imagine how, but you never know.
Or
who? We shall see. But the overnight is so important, and everyone who says otherwise is mistaken.
Yeah.
So
well, you're being polite. I would say disillusioned. We've got Woodhouse122 giving a very interesting comment here. I still have an inkling that Gatwa will announce his stepping down from the role at Eurovision. So he would
the way that Tennant did it,
like Tennant did.
The national. Yeah.
I understand what you're saying there, Woodhouse122, but bearing in mind that this is a live television show to the whole of Europe, they don't give a toss. So I don't think they will, because the only people that will have any inkling, well, he might just say something, but it's not going to be relevant at all. And considering that he has supposedly 90 seconds to get these scores out, or is it 60 seconds now? 60 seconds, I think, to do it. To make it all about him would be ridiculous, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But let's find out. Don't forget that particular episode written by well-known homophobe Juno Dawson is next week. And we'll be looking at all of that, and we'll be.
He won't have the chance. Yeah, it's not a long enough slot. You can't make it about him. He's just got to get the numbers out.
Yeah,
it would say an awful lot if he does. Heretic is saying to us, "I've also seen grown men on X have breakdowns about if Ncuti regenerates into a white man, not a woman. The show is done for. It's a step back as we've had too many straight." Yeah, you see, Heretic, they're the sort of fans I can't be done with. I can't be done with them because they are the ists, the ots, and the phobes. Those people there. Because they're pushing this sort of stuff. I think it's disgraceful what that is. It's disgraceful.
There has been lots of rumours doing the circuit that there may be a female coming next, but we'll have to see what happens with that.
It's not going to work. I mean, there's nobody watching, is there? It's just ridiculous. It's very, just Jordan saying to us, it's just maths. Can we have that on a Who's Views t-shirt? Yeah, we'll sort something out. Well done. Obviously, I'll see what we can do with that one. Just Jordan. And
It
Duncan,
should be from the gentleman with the numbers or something like that, with a wee
yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Duncan's saying to us, Sooty would be a better doctor. Sweep is more likely the meddling monk.
I'd pay good money for that. Yeah,
I'd like that one. That would be that would be fun. Well, the newest rumor, says Stephen Braddock, is Belinda is the next Doctor, as she knew the TARDIS name and of Gallifrey before she was told. There's a thing about There's a thing about having stuff off camera.
yeah.
Why are certain fans today so literal? It drives me mad. You know, it's just get a grip. Just get a grip.
Yeah, she's maybe the 16th Doctor. Apparently, that's another thing. So honestly, really, like honestly,
ridiculous. Where are they getting all this stuff?
I mean, to be honest, it wouldn't surprise me. It's kind of crazy enough for Russell to do, but it's like you're creating another Doctor with a narrative. They did that with the Fugitive Doctor. We've done that already. We don't really care. Let's not do that. Just tell us an ordinary story, for God's sake. Yeah,
no, it's
Proper
not going to
story.
happen anytime soon, is it? Really isn't. Well, listen, Bedwyr, thank you very much for another stunning update on all the ratings. Really appreciate that. Thank you for taking the time after you've been unwell to do all that. I know everybody in the chat will appreciate it as well. So thank you.
Glad to be back.
That was
Good to have
this
you back.
week's
Yeah.
ratings breakdown, everybody, with that one down there. Where are we going next? We're actually going to Manhattan, believe it or not, everybody, because that's where current Doctor Ncuti Gatwa has been spotted. Have you seen? Yes, he's been at the Met Gala of all places. Now, if you are very lucky and you don't know what the Met Gala is, I can tell you that the Met Gala is this hugely pretentious, glamorous, haute couture is the word I looked up, fashion event in Manhattan. It's hosted and organized by Vogue, not the song, but the magazine. It's been going for years and years and years. And basically what happens is it's fashion's biggest night in the world, as you're probably aware of it. They all get together and they wear all these costumes and all these designs. And it is supposed to be, well, it was once supposed to be a costume ball thing, and it's developed over the years. So there you go. It's always on the first Monday in May. And if you want to know more, you can actually look that up on Netflix. There's a show called The First Monday in May, which tells you all about it. Of course.
I mean, my understanding is they just show up to be photographed, and
that's all it is. It's there.
Well, whether they're invited or not, they just show up.
Yeah. Well, you have to be. Well, put it this way. This is what gets me this year, and I looked this up. The entry price this year was £75,000 for a ticket. So that's
for charity. Is that for charity though? Is it?
I have no idea where it goes. I'm not even looking at it. But this is why you get the people like Madonna turning up, because she's got more money than God. Let's face this. So she can go, and that's nothing to her, is it really? But Ncuti Gatwa was there, everybody. So let's have a look from GQ magazine. Ncuti Gatwa sees excellence and elegance in his Met Gala 2025 suit. The actor sat down with GQ to talk Oswald Boateng, Boucheron jewelry, and a night that's so celebratory of blackness and black style. Now, this is the thing about it. Every year there's a different theme at the Met Gala. So this one was this time blackness and black style. Okay. Whatever. Again, political, isn't it? He wore two outfits. I'm going to show you them. The one on the left is the one he wore for the actual sit-down dinner. The one on the right is the one that he wore for the Vogue party afterwards.
Okay.
He likes his off the shoulder, doesn't he, guys?
He does. Yeah.
He loves his off the shoulder gigs there. And
it's just the picture when he's the one on the left is the picture where his trousers are too short. His cap
they are
is dyed,
too short. Yeah,
as we see over
but
here.
that's the trend, Paul. Too short. You know, even the kids here, the young people here, are
they're wearing their little brother's trousers. Obviously, clearly.
Well, I thought they'd just been measured wrong, but no, that's it.
Yeah.
And can I just say that outfit on the right? No. Some of us were doing better versions of that in the 90s when we went clubbing, but there was never anyway I was going to take a handbag out with me at all, because I feel, ladies and gentlemen, that a handbag is demasculating. Ooh, yes, I do. I think, but
Because that's not your own handbag, is it? That's someone else's.
it's
Is it?
borrowed.
Yeah, it's borrowed. Yeah.
Thanks, Andrea. Absolutely, no, it's borrowed. But let's get into that. There's what he's looking like. A lot of you are already talking about this. Suit you, sir, Sir Pete Harrington.
Can I ask, has his hair color changed as well between the two shots?
Yes.
Is it just me?
Yeah, look.
Yeah, he's blonde in the other one, isn't he? I think. Is he blonde?
Yeah. This is the same night.
Allegedly the same night. It could be when he was dressed. It could be on the one on the left. That was the photo shoot where he was trying the suit out, because of course these things, a lot of these outfits that they wear are not bought by them. They are loaned so that the designer can be seen at the Met Gala.
Yeah,
you know. How is that black fashion, says Peter Venkman fan site? Well, there was an awful lot of stuff there. And Terrified Monk says, oh God, I'm wearing the same outfit.
That'd be awful, wouldn't it, if you turned up with the same outfit on, especially the one over the shoulder thing. That'd be really embarrassing.
Apparently it once happened. I don't know if it was the Met Gala or something, but two actresses turned up with the same thing and were mortified, of course, because they couldn't be seen in the same shots. But the press had a field day. That's how pretentious these things are. Let's get back to GQ and see what they say. You'd be forgiven for thinking the Met Gala 2025 theme was chosen specifically for Ncuti Gatwa. I feel like a dandy, he laughs, styling in ahead of the big night. I've always felt like a dandy. The exhibition's theme, super fine, tailoring black style, couldn't be more on brand for an actor whose fits and characters have always been extremely and deeply well dressed. From Sex Education's Eric... Yeah, from Sex Education's Eric to his take on Doctor Who, big fashion has long been prevalent in Gatwa's work, but he's outdone himself in 2025. Just a few months ago, the Scottish Rwandan actor stepped on stage at the National Theatre as Algernon, one of Oscar Wilde's most ostentatious dandies, in The Importance of Being Earnest. In August, he returned to the stage in Liz Duffy Adams' Born with Teeth. I'm playing Christopher Marlowe, and I feel like he was the Elizabethan dandy, he says. Dandy is the theme of this year. And what a year it's been for Gatwa. Theatre is my number one passion, and I was reminded of that when I was doing Ernest, he says. Screen is absolutely incredible, but the process is very structured in a different way. Born with Teeth ventures into darker territory than Gatwa is used to as an actor. This story, pardon the pun, was a lot to get my teeth into. I've not played a character as raw as Marlowe is. So there's a lot of kink, a lot of aggression, anger, competitiveness, and lust. It's a very base desires play. Crikey. Is there anything Gatwa wants to take away from the night? He pauses. I don't know how I would like to feel, but I'm so excited to be at a night that's so celebratory of blackness and black style, he says. I feel like black people have been contributing to fashion time immemorial, so it's really nice to have a night that's celebrating back. Where have these people come from?
Can you put the pictures up again, the two pictures one more time? Would you mind? The one with the handbag, I'm going to channel Ian here. He just looks like a twat, to be honest. He really does.
You're not the first today to say that, to be quite honest.
It's just the pretentiousness of the Met Gala, and it feeds into that. So,
but he's so desperate, Bedwyr, Paul, in my opinion, to make it in America. He's at the Met Gala where the tickets start at £75,000.
Well, that's the thing. It's not just.
So sorry, $75,000. Sorry, it's dollars. It's American money. $75,000.
That's about 25 quid, isn't it? And when you
and my understanding is it's by invitation only. So you have to be invited to spend that amount of money anyway. But it's just it's now the whole celebrity thing is you've got to be seen at the Met Gala. You've got to be seen at these events. It's not just what you wear or whatever. It's you've got to be seen at the right events, and that's potentially his next movie gig, because then
it's networking, isn't it?
Are thinking, oh, this is a guy who's in the modern zeitgeist, and we've got to hire him and bring him in for a role in order to elevate our movie. And it's just self-marketing, and it is intolerable.
It really is. And that's what it's about. It's about the networking as well. And I'm absolutely certain that that's him desperately trying to make it back in America. I mean, I can't see Anna Wintour knowing who Ncuti Gatwa was until somebody would explain. And she's there doing the tables. Because I've watched that documentary. It's very interesting. And there she is, Anna Wintour, saying, no, I don't want that person there. Move that person over there. A bit like the Devils Wear Prada. No, you can't have that person next to that person because they're not talking. Move that person there. That's literally what it's like.
There's a story. Ncuti was on the Jimmy Fallon show, I think, on BBC, in America rather, promoting Doctor Who early on in the year for season 2, and they talked about Brian Cox. Brian Cox worked with him on a show in Scotland called Bob's Servant, which is a sitcom, and he had a tiny scene in that. And apparently, Brian Cox heard that. So someone said, "Do you know who the new Doctor Who is? Ncuti Gatwa." And Brian Cox said, "Really? He was shit." allegedly, yeah.
Oh, that's not what you want to hear.
Yeah,
that's not what you want to hear.
Yeah.
Lots of listen. Thank you for everybody in the chat. Theatre is my number one passion, said Mark A. Right? Yeah, sure, mate, sure. That's why you're sucking up to Hollywood. Yeah, good point. Good point. Oh, John Roberts is here. Good job. He loves the theatre as his TV work will dry up. And Peter Harrington and a lot of you also saying kink. Come on, yeah, kink. That doesn't sell. That Marlowe thing to me, kink. I mean, again, it's one of these things. Theatre at the moment, bleh, because they've all gone clear and they've gone down the TQ lot. And if I hear that anymore, I'm going to be very, very. I am so busy on the Stage's Facebook page, slagging them all off because they are so pretentious and unreal. Honestly, and they're all going
they're
on
saying
about
that Shakespeare and Marlowe had a gay relationship. That's what they're saying.
They're implying all that sort of stuff
right,
as well,
yeah,
which,
right.
Whatever, but, who cares?
Yeah.
Over 100 years ago, for heaven's sake. More actually. What was it? 200-300? I can't remember. 400? I can't remember. Loads of time ago. But I had a great time when I was there. But, it was all, it's just nonsense, isn't it? The whole thing. Problem being saying to us, yes, Christopher Marlowe, that famous Rwandan homosexual fashionista historical figure. Exactly.
And again, I don't want to dwell on this, but they gender swapped him as well, haven't they? Which is a bizarre thing. But yeah.
And we've got well dressed. What a joke, says our John. Cody W1. Excuses for leaving already.
Yeah, get your coat shooted all right. Off you go.
Yeah. The word dandy. Oh yes, dandy, the new buzzword. He actually started that last year. Remember when he was saying how much he loved Pertwee, and then he went on to call Pertwee something not very nice, which again alienated him from certain amounts of people in the original show. In between all this, though, we've had a lovely message from David Shaw. Thank you, David. It's lovely to see you. I've got the Sea Devils DVD. It's called Beneath the Surface. I got it on Thursday, and I'm happy. Thank you for helping me. Ourselves and everybody in the chat helped you. Yet Beneath the Surface. So you've also got a couple of other stories in there as well, haven't you? Enjoy.
Voice of the Deep, haven't you? Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah. Silurians and Warriors of the Deep, all in one box set.
Yes, that's it. Yes, it's a lovely box. So enjoy it. And then when you've done that, go and look at our shows, our reviews when we celebrated the Silurians and Sea Devils last year. It's all on the playlist. And we've still got the Sea Devils to come. That's on the way as well after all this nonsense. Okay. But David, I'm so glad you got that.
Nonsense.
Yeah.
Great box set, that one. Problem being is also saying to us, I don't mind him being a fashionista. That's Gatwa, and into whatever he loves, but do it when you're not in Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Is he though, PB? Is he? I don't think he is now. Remember, he finished this stuff last year.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that quote was, what was the magazine? It was a GQ, whoever. Oh, I don't care.
GQ,
yeah. He's talking about his next gig. He's not talking about Doctor Who that's currently screening on Disney Plus and on the BBC. He's talking about his next thing. He's talking about his theatre, not the thing that's currently on the air and he could actually talk up and get people to tune in and watch, which I think is very telling.
Yeah.
It's a good point, yeah.
Yeah, it is. Apparently we've got the wrong picture there. That picture apparently came from the after show party another time from another band. It was put out as part of the whole thing about the Vogue party. So if I've got that wrong, apologies, and apologies to him as well. But that's what they said. There was a look for the after show party. What else? JT, you should take a look at the new art statue in Times Square. I have done, Paul Rose. Yes, that's all I'm saying about that. Read the face.
I feel like I've missed loads while I've been in hospital.
Oh, you have. Where have you been? Yeah. John Mason wants to know, what did he say about Pertwee? Well, it wasn't very nice.
No.
It wasn't very nice. It was
crass.
John wouldn't have liked it either. He would have had him for that. I can tell you, they would have fallen out like that.
Was it something like it was a tart or something like that? Something like that.
Worse.
Yeah. What wasn't that? Okay. Right.
Yeah. Ron Sapp is saying, trust me, as an American, we don't want him.
You can have him. It's
him.
fine. You're welcome to him. It's fine.
Yeah. Pop him a note through. Please don't let him know, because we don't either. Entertainment creators, good to see you as well. But there we go. So there was Mr. Gatwa at the Met Awards, the Met Gala this week. Huge, big, pretentious showbiz party with all the names, and loads of people who call themselves non-binary. What a load of old guff. They don't live in the real world, these people do. There's people starving around them all the way around Manhattan and into New York. And
I was going to say it's a load of old bollocks, but that's probably controversial, isn't it, to be honest? But yeah.
They don't know what they are. We're going to move on now, everybody, because, of course, Ncuti Gatwa, conspicuous by his absence, didn't mention at all that he's playing, as Paul said there, Doctor Who at the moment. As Bedweir said, he's not even mentioning the fact that he's going to be looking for another part in Doctor Who. But tomorrow does see the next episode. Yay, I'm so excited about this.
Yay.
God. Well, how many episodes is it? 5, did you say?
Yeah, 5. This is the 5th one. So
this is only the 5th. This is painful.
4 left.
4 left. So 4 including this. So this is episode
3 for me.
Yeah.
3 for me, because I'm not watching next week's by known homophobe Juno Dawson. Absolutely not. So 3 for me. And I'll be having next Saturday off to go and touch grass. But yes, so this is the next one. This next one is called, as we all know, The Story and the Engine. It just rolls off the tongue.
Yeah.
God.
Gripping title. Yeah.
It really is.
Today is the 80th anniversary of Thomas the Tank Engine, the only real engine we ever want to celebrate on this channel. But here we go.
Yeah. Well, there you
go. You can just hear Ringo Starr or doing the narration for this next episode tomorrow night, can't you? Yeah.
I think he's got better things to do. He's got a huge lawn.
Yeah. Yeah. He probably has. Yeah.
Massive, huge lawn as Ringo. Hiya, Ringo, if you're watching. Love you. All right, so let's get into this one then. As we take a look at I was putting it off as much as I can. We've got to get into it now. Let's have a look at this thing that's coming on tomorrow night in the thing that calls itself Doctor Who. This is the writer from radiotimes.com. This is Inua Ellams, everybody. Inua Ellams. Yeah. So I know we're all excited about seeing what this one's all about. But yeah, you'll know him by now. He also appears in the episode, gentlemen. Did you know that?
No. Is he in character there? And is that his character costume, or is that just him?
I've no idea. I don't know. Now, Inua Ellams. Now, I looked this up on Wikipedia, and I know that Wikipedia isn't 100% reliable, but I don't care at this point, because it says here that Ellams has written for the Royal Shakespeare Company and the Royal National Theatre and the BBC. He was elected in 2018 as a Fellow of the Royal Society of Literature as part of its 40 Under 40 initiative. I remember reading a bit about that. He's done lots of other things now, and of course now he's joined Doctor Who. Ellams was the first black man to have written for Doctor Who and the 4th black writer overall, after Mallory Blackman, Charlene James and Sharma Angel Woolfall, who I imagine wrote for the Chibnall series, because I've never heard of any of them. Apart from Mallory Blackman. Right.
Well,
Mallory Blackman
Rosa.
I have heard of.
Yeah.
Okay.
She wrote Rosa, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it goes on to say, now, one of his big... We've talked about this before. One of the big shows that got him noticed by both Ncuti Gatwa and R2D2, I nearly said, RTD.
It's your Star Wars on the brain there. That's what it is.
Yeah. RTD2.
Yeah, true. Bleep, bleep, bloop. Makes more sense than Doctor Who.
Definitely, yeah.
The thing that got their attention was something called the Barber Shop Chronicles. So I looked it up, and I want you to bear this in mind as we look at the story and the engine. Do you notice I have to keep looking at my notes to see what the bloody story's called, because I can't remember? Stupid title. The Barbershop Chronicles is a play set in a black barbershop, black barbershops in 6 cities on one day, against the backdrop of a football match between Chelsea and Barcelona. The play explores the African diaspora. Is that right? Diaspora in the UK. Masculinity, homosexuality, and religion. The play was produced by the National Theatre, Fuel Theatre, and the Leeds Playhouse, and was shortlisted for the Alfred Fagan Award in 2017. Following a period of touring, the play was also performed at the Roundhouse in 2019, and a recording of the National Theatre production was streamed in May 2020 as part of the National Theatre at Home season. For the production, Ellams recorded 60 hours of male banter in barbershops all over Africa and in London at his barber Peter's shop, Emmanuel's in Clapham Junction. So that's basically it. Now, he's also done something called The Half God of Rainfall. In April 2019, The Half God of Rainfall was presented at the Birmingham Rep Theatre in advance of its run at London's Kiln Theatre, as well as a publication as a book. Right. So bear that in mind, because this one...
Is it an amalgamation of the two?
This is what I might possibly be
Yeah.
suggesting. Could this
Yeah.
be a repeat? Because as you all know by now, this one is set in a barbershop, which appears to be strapped to the back of a massive, massive space spider. I kid you
Right.
not. Yes.
Yeah, you can't make this stuff up. Who thought being in a barber shop could be so exciting? Really, honestly.
Where does the football match come into it?
Well, let's have a look at this, shall we? Let's have a look, because this is from radiotimes.com. Doctor Who writer reveals why the next episode is a companion piece to Dot and Bubble. The Doctor is headed for, is this Lagos?
Yes.
Lagos.
Lagos or Lagos, depending which part of the country you come from, which is in Nigeria. Now, where I think the football bit comes into this, Bedouin, is that he's looked at the male banter. Now, where would you go if you're researching male banter? You would go to a football match, wouldn't you?
Personally, no, but
I can understand why he has done, because, you know, you've got a load
go
of...
to a pub. You go to a, you know,
Especially when there's a football match on.
go to a pub. You know.
I don't know. These days, you get all these wishy-washy ones, though, going to the... Well, if they go to a pub, wine bar or something like that.
Well, there are fewer pubs these days, so
That's true. Yeah, you can't get the pubs that we knew. Let's get
But
back
when I
into...
used to go to the barber, it doesn't take long to get my hair cut, so it's kind of not much time for
You
banter at all.
don't go to the barbers.
Well, when I
Don't-
used to, in 5 minutes, there's no time for banter. You
You
sit
haven't been
down.
to the barber since the 90s. Stop it. Behave. I only know that because I haven't either. Let's get into this story from the radiotimes.com. Doctor Who writer Inua Ellams has revealed that he sees The Story and the Engine, his forthcoming writing debut in the sci-fi drama, as a companion piece to fan favourite episode Dot and Bubble.
Who said a fan favourite, really?
What? Really? The Nigerian-born poet, playwright, curator, and writer, best known for his National Theatre production Barbershop Chronicles, told the Radio Times that Dot and Bubble is one of his favourite in the previous series and guided him when writing his upcoming episode. I highly recommend people should watch it, he added. It was gorgeous, beautifully written, so emotional, so emotive, in a very understated kind of way. And that understatement is what guided my hand in writing this. Are we looking at the same thing? Are we? Really? We're obviously not looking through it through the same lenses. He carries on. In Dot and Bubble, the Doctor is a victim of racism, while in The Story and the Engine, the colour of his skin is part of how he interacts with people. Ellams added, I just want to see more stories like that are deeply nuanced and personable and rich, but don't get in the way of the Doctor's primary objectives, which is to save the day regardless of who's in front of him. Much like the classic series and the series did, in the original version of the Doctor, and even the version of the Doctor in the reboot. The writer also pointed out that despite the show tackling conversations around racism, the Doctor's race shouldn't be a significant thing, saying, moving forward, I'd just like to see more interesting stories where the Doctor's looks aren't really keen to the story. Really?
Well, we all.
Yeah.
Yeah, really. We just find him in precarious situations where he has to use the tools available to him to engage with the adventure or the problem before him, you know? And here, his colour of his skin is part of how he interacts with the people. But it's the most reductive part. It doesn't really matter. The episode marks a first for the series, with the TARDIS landing in Lagos in Nigeria, a move Ellams calls a hug, an olive branch, to the fans that exist in that part of the world. Ellams reflected on his childhood, saying, I thought about who I was when I was a kid, and I fell in love with Doctor Who, what it meant to me then, what it means to me now, and trying to write a story that reunites all those things. The moral of the story is to give credit where it's due, he revealed. I was trying to give credit to the nuance and the racial diversity within Nigeria itself. The same nuances can be said of Dot and Bubble, which is as much about race as it is tech dependency, online echo chambers, and social media woes. Dot and Bubble also famously had an incredible, powerful ending with a stunning performance from Gatwa. And Ellams had suggested that The Story and the Engine could have a similarly powerful impact, teasing there's something that echoes beyond the last frame of my episode, which I could not have seen when I wrote it.
You know, I couldn't stop thinking about Nigeria and whether they have Marco Polo there. They might have.
Well, they had Web of Fear and
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, they are.
I'm lost for words. I'm lost for words because in that interview, he has basically not contradicted himself, but he's basically said what a lot of us want to say. You know, that's all we want from Doctor Who, isn't
Yeah.
it? That's what we want from Doctor Who. We want the story going. And he's mentioned race. And again, the Doctor is an alien. His race is Gallifreyan. He is not human. Why have these people not grasped the fact that they're dealing with an alien, not a human being? I just found it boring. I mean, does this make you want to watch the episode?
Not at all. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. You know, it doesn't sound like Doctor Who at all. Really, it doesn't sound engaging at all either. So, again, we'll have to watch it and see. Maybe I'll be wrong, but I'm not. I'm not holding out much hope for this one particularly.
Neither am I.
It just doesn't make sense. You know, he's trying to, make the point that, we want to write stories, and as fans, we want to watch, stories that where race isn't really a factor. And my understanding is this is an all-black cast.
Yes, it is.
Well, that's the complete opposite. You're making it an issue of it by only. Oh, I don't know.
I know. I
can't be asked with this show. God.
Yeah.
This is why people aren't tuning in, because you start getting into the conversation like we do, and you just suddenly go, "Oh, this is all," don't you? And you run out of steam because it's just so ridiculous. These people have brought back all the issues that my generation were fighting against in the late 80s and early 90s, and more or less solved. It's all back again. And this time, they're the ones that are calling. Oh, see what I mean? I just get so tired of the thing. And to have it in Doctor Who, Paul, is ridiculous.
I just think of interesting whether or not if they turned the tables and this was, if the Doctor was white and he went there to this particular setting, and how that would fit around that, how they'd react to him being white. Because the Doctor really, in this context, would be accepted into this into Nigeria, into this place, because he's the norm of the people who are there.
But then you think about it, they did that in Dot and Bubble. They did it in Dot and Bubble. So this is the reverse. So when I said on one of the shows here, I don't like segregation. Actually, I don't like segregation, which has been ushered back in all sorts of ways now in the modern world. Absolutely ridiculous. And I said, I don't like the idea of an all-black thing. Somebody actually messaged in to say, well, they did do an all-white thing for years and also last year. But look what happened to the white characters in that. They all turned out to be is and ots, didn't they?
Well, if you look at last week's character, Conrad, he was the villain of the piece because he was white, basically. That was effectively it, wasn't it, really?
Yes, exactly. It just gets to me. Well, of course, we're going to be reviewing this, everybody, on Sunday here live on the channel, 8 o'clock UK time. Please make sure you're coming. It's up there for you already. You can set the reminder, come and join us, see how tired we are, or will it actually be any good?
I mean, it might be. I mean, to give them the benefit of the doubt, it could be, but I kind of given up on this series, really. I'm finding it really hard. I can barely remember much about last week as it is. You know what I mean? If we're doing a season overview, I don't have to rewatch them to remember what they're about. To be honest,
Stephen Braddock's saying to us, if it is set in a barbershop, why couldn't it be in a UK city? Why Africa? Oh yes, messaging. It's not just that. It's the fact that this is what he writes about, which is fair enough because that's his background and what have you. But that's where they wanted it to be set. Also, Ncuti wanted it set there as well because Ncuti recommended this. This guy's a writer as well. We know that. And that's what he said.
Surely there's an interesting story to tell about Doctor Who in a barbershop. I guess maybe, and that could be interesting enough. But
let me know what you think about that in a minute, because we're going to be looking at the TV listings magazines. Yelling about echo chambers from an echo chamber, says the Peter Venkman fan site. And Woodhouse 122, Saturday's episode is going to be even worse than last week's episode. Craig Dunlop is saying, I have to wait a day to see this. Hold me back. Yeah. Mike Disney saying to us, best wishes to anyone planning on watching this. And all hands on deck is with us saying, oh, this is stunning and brave.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly where it is. Yeah. Unless this episode is a meta adventure where the Doctor searches for missing episodes, then I'm not interested, said Mark A. Wright.
Great minds think alike, Mark. Yeah, definitely.
Paul Rose said cobblers, as did Sheila B in the Devotion. What a load of old cobblers. Graham was saying to you, Paul, as well. That's exactly what I'm thinking, Paul. Well, and Legion of James. Again, I ask, who are the actual artists? They seem to be the only ones obsessed with skin color. The projection is strong with this lot. It is, isn't it? I mean, yeah, it's sad that we are where we are, and pushing all this. Jason Parker, crap title, crap plot, if you want to call it that. Isms, yawn. Bring back junking episodes of Doctor Who, please. Well, these would be the first I'd burn, I tell you.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you? Honestly.
Telesnaps of the story in the engine would be hilarious.
Do you know what, though? If you burnt these Gatwa and even the Whittaker episodes, in 30, 40 years' time, no one would be clamoring to try and get them back. Demorpin, this is the writer who said he writes with language scooped directly from a paintbrush. Yes, I saw that and thought that can't be right. But yeah, isn't it ridiculous?
What does that mean?
I have no idea.
That's just words. That's not even. Oh my god.
Hugh Janus is saying to us only about 300k Nigerians in the UK. So who is this for? You can ask that for any aspect of this series. Who is it for?
Yeah.
Mrs. Lisa Pertwee is with us, waving. Hi, how are you? Lovely to see you. He said, says the Peter Venkman fan site, i.e. Inuit Elms, that the Doctor was a refugee from a war-torn planet. Yes, he did. Remember, we covered that back when they announced that this guy was writing it from Doctor Who magazine, and that's when we all went, "Oh God," because he isn't.
No. Depends on which version of it you want, but
how to miss the point,
Again, projecting.
But they're alluding to Rwanda here, aren't they? A little bit, aren't they, regarding kind of warfare and conflict and stuff, aren't they? Really, but
yeah.
Which is fine. Again, might be an interesting story, but it's just all so heavy.
Well, we're going to find out tomorrow.
Kind of relating to Ncuti's personal roots as well, isn't it? Because he's Rwanda himself, isn't he? So
it's all there, isn't it? And the fact that Ncuti wanted this story about a spider. Oh, and I have to say thank you to somebody who got in touch with me today on the channel. Thank you very much for your quote. I'll try and get it before we come back. Who told me a little bit about this? Love is with us, saying knock knock. Yeah, who's there? Well, it's not the Doctor. Let me finish that one for you because he's not there at all. R. John is saying DEI lecture from RTD and team as usual. Again, as we suggested a while ago, R. John, it's pretty obvious that all these people writing for the show this year are DEI hires. And a lot of the casting is DEI hire. That might upset an awful lot of people. I'm now convinced.
Yeah.
Now convinced. It's tick boxing galore, this series. How's that going for you, BBC Studios? Obsessed. These people are obsessed with it. Lots of chat, guys. Have you seen all this? Lots of chat. John Mason also saying to me, I said it earlier, but what a load of all but. And they don't think of him as an alien because he isn't written that way, says Rodney Strickler. Exactly. Yeah. They've forgotten who the Doctor is, haven't they, Rodney? Nice to see you. Oh, and I agree with this from Philip. The establishment has turned everyone ist when there was no isms.
Mm.
They've also turned everybody homophobic when they shouldn't have done. Let's have a look. Yeah, let's get back into this because that was one of the many articles that has been around. Let's have a look now, everybody, at this week's TV listings magazines here in the UK. Okay, so again, this week, 4 TV listings magazines covered the story and the engine. We're going to start with this one from the TV Times, who again have put Doctor Who in at number 3 in the week's top 10. So they seem to be sticking with it at number 3, guys, because it was number 1 for the first one, whatever that was called. The robot thing, Robot Revolution.
Yeah.
And now it's gone down to, for the last few weeks, it's been number 3.
It's as high up as that. That's interesting.
Yeah. The little blurb there says the 15 Doctor's feet have barely touched the ground in this current run of adventures. This week, the time traveler and companion land in the Nigerian city of Lagos, where they meet a mysterious barber.
Yeah, he's called the barber. You know? Like the Rani or the Master or whatever.
Well,
sorry,
to that what you will.
So that was TV Times.
Yeah.
And their top for the week was Mr. Bates versus the Post Office.
The BAFTAs.
Oh, the BAFTA. Right. I was going to say.
Mr. Bates versus the Post Office is up for Numerous, as we said, numerous awards at the BAFTAs.
But it wouldn't
That
surprise
makes
me,
far
Bedware, if it was repeating that particular drama, it'd do better than current Doctor Who, though, I'd imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, it says there for the BAFTA Television Awards, it's being shown on BBC One, obviously. Mr. Bates versus the Post Office sparked a national conversation last year, and this Sunday, ITV will be honoured with the prestigious BAFTA Television Special Award for commissioning the drama, recognising the power of public service. So it's a back on, it's another pat on the back for the industry itself.
Yeah.
Aren't you clever for making this a drama? What a load of old
But the
nonsense.
government allegedly have still not paid out the compensation yet, though, have they?
Well, don't forget that we had a general election as well, which didn't help.
Yeah.
Because they were in the process of doing it, and God knows where that process is now, because they've hoped it will go away.
Yeah.
But former Doctor Who director Chris Clough was producer on that show,
Yeah, he was,
so
yes,
hopefully some recognition for him, because it was clearly a really successful drama. But having
it's getting
TV,
a special one. It's getting a special one.
itself on the back for changing the world. There we go.
Okay, so let's move on to the TV Times. It gets a page and a bit. So this is the page. This is the main article, everybody. I can't say the gentleman's name, so apologies up front. I think his name is Arion Bakar, on why playing an enigmatic barber is a sheer delight. See what they did there? Mystery and mythology are at the heart of the latest installment of Doctor Who, when the TARDIS touches down in Nigeria's most populous city, Lagos. In the story in the engine, written by Nigerian-born playwright Inua Ellams, the Doctor and Belinda have an encounter with the mysterious barber, his dark materials, and Mr. Loverman star Arion Bakar. They discover that he holds a lot of influence in a place where stories are immensely powerful, but an entity known as the Spider is posing a sinister threat. Here, Arion, who previously portrayed alien Leandro in the 2015 episode The Woman Who Lived with Peter Capaldi's 12th Doctor, reveals why the role of the barber is a cut above. So TV Times then going to say to him, you previously appeared in the Whoniverse 10 years ago. How does it feel to be back? It came as a wonderful surprise as they approached me directly for the part of the barber. I was worried that they had forgotten I had already been part of the franchise, but they remembered I was in full prosthetics before. After my experience playing Leandro, I was delighted to return to that world. It was an instant yes. I don't even remember Leandro or that episode.
That's a terrible episode anyway. That's the one with what's her name from Game of Thrones, isn't it?
Right.
It's I don't understand this. He's an actor. He can play any part he wants. It was 10 years ago he was in the series, for God's sake.
I know. I don't know why they're all so hung up about this. Really don't. What clues can you share about this week's episode? He says it's about storytelling, the origins of stories, and the power they have to heal, educate, and inspire. The Nigerian cultural element is authentic. The barbershop serves as a hub of conversation where these stories are shared. Inua brilliantly deploys old Nigerian folktales, those bedtime stories we all heard as children, and he creates a timeless piece that is Nigerian in essence but universal in appeal. Is there anything else we should expect, says TV Times? Hair, lots of hair. Oh gosh, that's really going to make me want to tune in. Was it difficult to keep your casting a secret from your family and friends? Not interested in that. Were you a fan of Doctor Who while growing up? I was as a kid, blah, blah, blah. He says I would collect Doctor Who cards that you could get in cereal boxes. He's obviously talking about the Weetabix, so he must be our age, in our age group. I love the Daleks, of course, but I was a huge fan of the Cybermen. What was it like working with the current TARDIS team? They are two incredible young actors of their generation. I love them both, and their chemistry on screen is a real joy to watch.
But he's not as good as Capaldi. I hope he said that as well.
He does. He said, Verada's smile can melt any viewer's heart. Well, it's a shame it hasn't happened yet. And blend that with Ncuti's wit and charm, and you create instant magic. Again, the viewing figures would say, you're wrong. How did you find filming on the Doctor Who set in Cardiff? I love this set. The production design is always on point and the attention to detail is incredible. When you enter the set, your first reaction is wow, and your second is, where's the TARDIS? Can I get a picture next to it and inside it? Finally, says TV Times, what do you think makes this show so special? Doctor Who is genius, he says, because it's built change into its story with the whole regeneration concept. More than being quintessentially British, it always stays fresh with new faces, companions, and creative teams. I love how it can be whatever it wants to be. One week you might get a historical episode, then suddenly it's a creepy thriller, then boom, full-on sci-fi the next. Not that we've seen any of that recently. But what makes it stand out is its hopefulness about people. At its heart, the show believes that we can be better and that compassion and intellect matter more than violence. Well, those are hippie old nonsense. So that's really what he's saying there on that one.
Well,
Yeah.
that will be a message I will take from this anti-bald people, this particular episode. So I'm going to be, yeah.
I'll come to you all in the chat, by the way, shortly. Let's get through these graphics. Keep it coming. This is the other part of TV Times. This is the Saturday page again. This is half a page to give to this for Doctor Who. It's the usual write-up. While the TARDIS has visited Africa in other episodes, this one marks the first time in Doctor Who that it's been to Nigeria, although the episode was filmed in and around Cardiff. So credit due to the production team for pulling it off so convincingly. The Doctor and Belinda are visiting Lagos this week because it's all part of the process in getting Belinda back home safely. But inevitably, there's a complication when a trip to a local barbershop gets the pair of them caught up in a revenge pot that has been brewing for many, many years. Now, I want to know how they get and why there is an interest in getting to the barbershop when Ncuti's hair seems to be regenerating from one story to the next.
That's why he needs a barber. It's like the Doctor and the gunfight. He had toothache, so he went to the dentist. And Ncuti's got hair problems. He's got the barber. That makes perfect sense, doesn't it?
Of course it does. It absolutely does. Demorpin is saying to us, ugh, how tedious. Matthew Pounder is saying he loves how British it is. Right. Lee Smith, I think RTD2 wrote all these interviews. And Julie Wendy's with us in the chat saying, any idea what the viewing figures are for the episodes on You and Eden? We're going to be looking at that, Julie. At some point, we hope. We're going to try and get them. Julianne is saying to us, oh, yes, all the old Nigerian folk tales I heard as a child. What a load of bollocks. I didn't hear any in Britain either, to be quite honest. Of course we didn't. Wrestling reviewer Dan, Dan, is saying it sounds awful. And Paul Schlefter is saying, I'm just joining, but tomorrow's episode looks rubbish.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Great to see you, mate. Legion of James, I'm sick of this built for change rhetoric. The Doctor changes, but the show should remain the same at its core. They use this expression to justify their wanton destruction of it.
It's true it can be different things every week, but it's ought to be Doctor Who within that, surely, doesn't it?
I don't understand where all this nonsense about the Doctor Who's about change has come from. Because to me, it wasn't. It's never been about change.
Well, they want it to be Mr. Bates versus the post office. They want it to deliver social change, don't they?
Yeah.
That's what they're trying to do. Because you can't have drama just be drama now. It's got to change society and be more than just entertainment.
Yeah. Well,
thank you.
The trailer for it, says Farsight, shows the Doctor heading towards a boarded up shop. It's clearly a CGI front. Oh, really? I haven't seen the trailer. Why did they need to do that? A physical shop front would have been better and cheaper. Well, they don't think like you do, Farsight, do they? You got too much common sense for your own good there.
There's on the Tube of View, there's like another half-season trailer with different clips in it.
Oh, is there?
Doesn't look very exciting, no.
I don't know if I want to know, to be quite honest. Yeah. I don't know if I want to know.
Yeah.
No, well, I can tell you that because I get bored very, very easy on the blooming episode itself. Anyway, let's carry on. We've got this one now from What's on TV. Again, it's in the Hot TV picks, and there it is on the top right-hand corner. You can just see it. What it says is an adventure called The Story in the Engine. The TARDIS arrives in Lagos, Nigeria, where the mysterious barber reigns supreme. While there, the Doctor and Belinda have a haircut and will discover a world where stories have power. But there's also a dangerous spider to contend with as it spins a deadly web of revenge. Now, that line there sounds like a bit of a throwaway, but it has caused some sort of brouhaha with the minority of
some kind of backlash, no doubt.
The spider and its deadly web of revenge. Now, again, being literal, those sort of fans are now saying, oh my God, this must be the tool of somebody who's out for revenge on the Doctor. Why are they so... I mean, it could be just revenge on the people that are around it or for being captured like a whale. Oh, we've done that one, sorry. It's just ridiculous, isn't it? This whole... Why are they so literal? Why are they trying to tie it together? You drive me mad. You complete loons. Get a job.
Well, they're all thinking because Conrad's back, apparently, isn't he, at the end of the season?
At the final, yeah.
That was mentioned on the one show the other night there.
Yeah.
So they're all kind of trying to piece it together that I don't know how... Someone did say something of interest. If this is an all-black cast, how does Mrs. Flood fit into this?
Who cares?
Well, I was just speculating, that was all.
I wonder if they'll do a black and white minstrel.
No, I didn't want to say that. There you go.
I'll say it.
Yeah,
I think that would be quite interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah. That'd be controversial, yeah.
That would be very controversial. It might even get the ratings up. Bedweir's on top form tonight, says John Mason. Marie UK is saying more education. It's like being back at school, just not in our own country. And Lee Smith is saying to us, it could have filmed this in the back streets of Blackpool. Probably. Problem being is saying in response to Marie UK, well, schools tell boys they can be girls and vice versa. That's very true these days. And Pete Harrington saying to us, oh, don't tell me a barbershop is a TARDIS. How exciting. Yeah. Yes, possibly. Farsight is saying, JT, that's the first time anyone said that about the common sense. I'm sure it's not. Philip wants to know, where can you get you in Eden? I can find you, but no Eden. I haven't got the channel numbers with me on my notes now, I'm afraid. But it is there. You have to carry on scrolling because you've got so many of the U channels now, haven't you guys?
They've all been rebranded as U's, haven't they?
Yeah. Have a quick...
It's basically UK Gold, isn't it? Let's be honest. Yeah.
Yeah. You can find it by your can we say Google? Oops.
Anyway, too late. You've said that. You've said it. It's too late.
No, yeah.
Other search engines are available.
Thank you very much.
I don't know any of them, but no,
but you're fine.
But you can
Google
do
them
that.
And find out. Yes.
Yeah, it lists the channels for you, mate. Okay, Philip, you can find that. Okay, it is there, and Doctor Who's on every weeknight. So good luck with that. Let us know when you find it. John Cartwright, who is going to be the villain? There is no white man in it. P.S. I'm not the ist. They are. It's going to be very crap. Oh, and welcome. Familiar name here. Thalara Q. I think you're a time lady. Doctor Who has gone down the tubes in Australia as well. I'm not surprised. And from my point of view, Australia was treated extremely badly with this deal. Yeah, very badly. Doctor Who was the second. Australia was the second home for Doctor Who in my eyes.
Yeah,
because they got it literally weeks after we did in '63 onwards, and the way they just turned their back on the get myself worked up again.
I remember I had a pen pal in the 80s, and we used to swap. You'd send current Doctor Who like Davison and get swap and get Pertwee and Baker episodes. That was quite fun.
Oh yeah,
on the QT, of course, obviously. Yeah.
Of course, yes. Yeah. We've got that. I bet even RTD won't be tuning into this crap. He's just taken the filthy Aluka and invested in a crate of Bailey, says Marine Boy 1966. Paul Rose wants to make sure that the Spiders' rights and peace. I'm sure that'll all be there. Mark Milford is joining us. JT, could Bedweir do the rating overnights for you and Eden? Yes, we're going to be looking at trying to get that. Mark. He's already on it.
If I can get them, I will talk about them.
Yeah. A cameo from Papa Lazarou would be welcome, says All Hands on Deck. Ooh. Oh, there's a character you will never, ever see on the telly ever again. And Julianne saying to us, you've heard the shills. It doesn't take much to set them off on a wild theory. That's true, but they drive me mad, Julianne. You know, that's why I don't look at them anymore. Michael is saying it could be 166 on Sky, I think. I'm not too sure. But Garbage is also asking you, and so they'll all help you there. Hugh Janus is saying that. Freeview 57. That rings a bell. Thank you, Hugh. Thank you. Gavin Graham is with us, also saying 57. Thank you. Julie Wendy. This is a good one. This is like the bingo. 176 on Virgin, said That's Julie Wendy.
Or 376 on the +1.
Yeah. 166 on Sky. Free stat 160. Good God. Julianne's saying it's
when it only used to be 4 channels.
Yeah,
I miss those days. I really do. But they're all there, so well done. And there's Jess as well saying the channel can be found on Sky TV channel 166, 266 for Eden +1, the Virgin channel 245, 246. The guide below gives you the time and date of which each episode will be featured. Yes. Good. That sorts that one out. And Philip saying, phew, thanks, JT and the panel. And everybody in the chat because they solved it for you. Hey, does anyone remember? Say, though,
when Bedweir calculates all this, there'll be criticism of how he did it, obviously, because it's on +1.
I think we'll go for the first one, maybe, rather than the +1. Rose is saying, hey, does anyone remember? Is the number 57 Heinz Variety? I do remember that. Absolutely, 57. All right, let's move back onto the TV listings magazine. So we got to that one, didn't we? So here we are with what's on TV. It also does this. This is the pick of the day, Doctor Who, as you can see, as it was last week. And then it's got this little article here, cutting it fine. They had to do that, I suppose. Nothing new in this.
Can
to
I
be
say,
honest.
in the picture on the left, where he's standing the TARDIS doorway,
Yeah,
his hair's different from there to the picture he is with Belinda. So has he had a haircut at the barber's in the second picture?
I've no idea. You'll have to tune in and
I'm
watch
making
it.
it sound more interesting than it might be, to be honest. But yeah.
That's the outfit he's in when he arrives in the TARDIS.
Yeah.
Realizes where he is, and then off it goes. Of course, then
Yeah.
comes out with that whatever. I suppose it's a local outfit there, but I just think it looks ridiculous on him.
Not as ridiculous as the white outfit he had last week. So.
No, that's true. At least it's a different color. The TARDIS brings the Doctor and Belinda to Lagos in the Nigerian this week's Doctor Who. Lagos is where the Doctor goes to get his hair cut, says Ncuti. It's exciting because it's a new part of Doctor Who lore, and the TARDIS in Africa is a great thing. Upon arriving, the Doctor and Belinda meet the barber and learn that an entity called the Spider poses a threat. The barber was right up my alley, and Inua Elam's script is steeped in Nigerian culture, says Aurelon. It's about storytelling and the origins of stories and the power they hold to heal, educate, and inspire, blah, 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 blah. Then we go to this one. This is from TV and Satellite Week. As you can see, they give it a 2-page spread, but the story is basically the same.
They're loving their haircut puns, aren't they, really?
Yeah, Blade Runners, it's come up with this one. The TARDIS lands at a mysterious Nigerian barbershop. We're not going to go into it because it's the same sort of story. Total TV Guide, that's it. That's all it shows. Today's pick. That's it. Okay? One item.
Right.
It's very, very small as well on the page.
Is he wearing a hat in that picture? Is that
He's wearing a hat as well,
okay,
yes.
right,
Okay.
Right, okay.
Spot the tumbleweed. And then we go to the big gun, which of course is the Radio Times, once owned by the BBC. Of course, now for many years now hasn't been. You would think that they would really be pushing and pushing and pushing Doctor Who this year, but as we saw over the last few weeks, it hasn't. And this week they haven't either. That's it. That's it. That's all they're giving it, and it's the same sort of stuff. You know, that's written in there. Except here it says the Doctor's catching up with its proprietor, an old friend by the name of Omo. It's a locale new to the series, but one which writer Inua Elams is very familiar, having recorded hours of customer banter as research for his 2017 play, The Barbershop Chronicles. A sense of comradeship is something that can be found both in that production and this episode. Though this being Doctor Who, there's added hair-raising peril, ha ha ha, of the spindly and gnarly kind to be faced. Might the time traveler be might be getting closer shave than he was expecting? Ha ha. Well, I'm thrilled. I don't know about you.
They don't seem to give any star rating on any of these reviews, do they?
Oh, strange.
I saw one earlier, which was 4 stars.
Was it
4
4?
stars,
Really?
yeah.
Right.
I noticed one earlier. I can't remember what publication that was, but
right.
Who cares?
No, I mean it's not.
Because I'm sure they don't get the advanced episodes. I don't. Not for this.
No, I don't think they are.
No,
so they've not seen them then, and they're not reviewing them.
No.
They're just giving a synopsis, basically. That's all it is.
We've got to remember as well that who's going to do it, because as we hear, nobody's in in the TARDIS. So who's going to do it? They've all moved on. Even BBC Studios seems to have moved on. Plymouth Who? Nice to see you. You've got to remember that these new writers are just wordsmiths. They represent the repressed people of their country, the ideologists of the new world. You know, morons. Not going to argue with you.
I was quite surprised though when I said to you earlier that I saw Russell on Morning View on BBC One, which is their version of This Morning, really effectively, and he was on that.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, promoting the series, which I was quite surprised that he was still around to do that. I thought he may have just, had nothing else.
Is it based in Manchester?
I think it might be that probably. Well, yeah.
There you go, 'cause it's down the road, isn't it? If it is.
Yeah.
Who's presenting it, Paul? Who presents that show?
Gethin Jones. Remember Gethin Jones from Blue Peter? Yeah. So.
Oh, very capable presenter as well.
Yeah.
Welsh, Bedweer. Welsh.
There's two.
Oh, I know him, yeah.
Is it the clue in the surname Jones? That's the clue that he's Welsh, is it? Yeah.
Well, it could be in the Gethin bit as well.
Gethin maybe as well.
Didn't he do a Doctor Who when he was on BP?
He was a Cyberman in Age of Steel, I think. Yeah. So.
Yeah. When they had great connections. Have you noticed BP haven't done anything to do with Doctor Who either?
No.
No, that's very unlike Blue Peter, by the way. The relationship with Blue Peter, as we've shown on one of our shows, and Doctor Who goes back decades.
Yeah.
doesn't seem to be working for them
I
now.
love those documentaries on the DVDs, the 2 hour-long documentaries about Doctor Who in the 60s, 70s, 80s on Blue Peter and on the modern series as well. It's quite
Exactly.
interesting.
Yeah, it was quite good. It was always a thrill. It
Yeah.
was even a thrill seeing Liz turning up eventually on Blue Peter to talk about her show.
Wow,
You know, and
we did a lovely show about that as well, didn't we? Remember? So
yeah, we did. We did. The Blue Peter shows on our specials. We did that a couple of years ago. Thalera Q is saying, I love your work, guys. Well, thank you so much. And thank you for joining us. If you are new to the channel, please make sure you've subscribed. If you have already subscribed, please make sure you are still subscribed. Thank you very much. Lots of gags going on in the chat now with Lee Smith saying they're trimming the ratings. Yes, see, the media aren't the only ones who can do it. So can our people here. PB is saying, I wish this series was on the cutting room floor like Gatwa's hair. Lee Smith also saying short back and sides. I hate to think where else. John Roberts saying to us, old episodes of Parkinson on You and Eden at the moment. Great stuff.
Yeah.
That's a proper interviewer. Proper interviews there. Fantastic. God love him. And it's great to see some of them as there. So, says Stephen Braddock, his hair is shorter before he goes in the barbers, but it's longer when he's in the barbers. He's regenerating his hair willy-nilly because he goes from one episode to the other. I remember in that Devil's Board thing last year, he had more or less an afro, didn't he?
Yeah.
What else? I thought his TARDIS trims him now. We'll move on. Pete Harrington. Lee Smith is saying Blade Runner, insult.
Yeah.
Jason Parker, heal, educate, inspire. Blah, blah, blah. It doesn't bode well for this episode tomorrow. I have to say my energy, Jason, is non-existent. Oh, I can't. Honestly. I'm hoping I'm going to be surprised, but I'm...
Even if it turns out that the barber's a Time Lord, I'm just not interested.
But you're kind of going into it expecting something of that nature now.
Yeah, I am. Just
rather than it being a surprise.
Yeah. Sorry if I've spoiled it if that happens if anyone watching it.
Yeah. I'm surprised that nobody's used a close shave for the Doctor in these padding articles, says Duncan. There. True. And
maybe Walter Gromit got it copyrighted.
Yeah. It could be. There is no point anymore, says Chris Lawley. This isn't Doctor Who. No one cares about this fiasco. Yeah. It's sad. We are in sad days at the moment, everybody, aren't we?
Oh, we are. Yeah.
Is it going to be a Sweeney Todd rip-off story, said Julie Wendy? That's what I actually originally thought, Julie, until I saw this great big... The spiders in the trailer. Remember that trailer we saw months ago now? That's the spider that's in it, with all these African colours around it.
The spider in the trailer looks like it's mechanical, though. It doesn't look like it's a living being. It looks like it's mechanical.
It's the spider that's going to be bringing in the Doctor Who element, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's Space Spider or whatever you want to call it.
Differentiate it from the original play.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
If you've out there, if you're out there and you've seen that play, please get in touch, whosviews1@gmail.com, because I would like to know, once you've seen this episode, what the differences are. Because it's the same cast that was in the stage play.
If I was that interested, I would actually look on YouTube and see if any clips of the play on there, because there may be,
Yeah.
Well, I think you said that it was on part of the National Theatre at Home season in 2020.
Yeah.
So I don't know if those videos are still there.
I don't know if I want to watch it, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
But if you've seen it, whosviews1@gmail.com, let us know. Because as I say, it's the same cast that were in that one, and they've moved over to Doctor Who.
Yeah. That
was very easy.
That one, yeah. So.
Well, I was going to say that was a very easy casting process, wasn't it, Mr.
Yeah.
Pryor? You would have loved this, I tell you. Nasty man. I will be trimming my grass tomorrow, so I'll miss this crap. However, I will be sure to send Ncuti my cuttings, said Kev Crush. Where he gets his haircut is not part of any law, says the Legion of James. These people are void of any intellect. It's no wonder the world is dumbed down to spoon-feeding nonsense. Isn't it just?
Yeah.
It really is ridiculous. What else? Thank you so much for being with us all, everybody, for tonight. And snipping ratings, says Lee Smith. Keep them coming. And I'm calling it now, says Peter Venkman fan site. The cast will be terribly underserved because of adaptive changes and agenda. People will be afraid to call out any flaws because of ism accusations. Well, we're not. We're not going to be. We will not going to be, because as usual, we're going to be treating this as a normal review. And yes, we will be here back on the channel 8 o'clock live on Sunday evening with our review of the story and the engine. good or bad, all the usual in this. The wokeometer, the scores on the TARDIS doors. We'll be doing the ratings game. Oh, I'm looking forward to our show. I'm just not looking forward to actually getting to watch Doctor Who before it, to be honest. Sad days. I can't believe I'm saying it anymore, but there you go. It's so boring. I really am bored with it. But we've got how many more to go?
Is it 4? Yeah, 4. Yeah.
Oh, and 3 for me.
Yeah.
Shard and Ox. Will it continue this record-breaking run? I mean, that this season posts the 5 lowest viewer ratings in the show's history. Take your bet now. I'm going to say probably. We've
probably got the secret 2025 Christmas special to watch later on in the year as well, obviously.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And Real Steve's back with the same. My brother wonders if this Barber's episode will be a number 1 or a number 2.
Definitely a number 2, I'd imagine.
Definitely a number 2. And Juliana saying Itzy and Bitsy look more lifelike. I used to love Itzy and Bitsy, Juliana, with Susan Stranks. God love her. Wasn't that a fabulous show? Absolutely fabulous. Well, listen, everybody in the chat, thank you so much for joining us again for your Friday headlines for the big show. It was an absolute pleasure to be with you all. Bedouia, once again, thank you so much for taking the time to put those ratings analysis together for us. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem at all.
Yeah. I didn't think so. I didn't think, because he was poorly this week, I didn't think we were going to get one, but there he is. There he goes. Fantastic. Richard Thomas is just saying, I've cancelled my BBC license fee and Sky yesterday. I can't go on supporting output that either annoys the hell out of me or I find very depressing. So I've cancelled the lot. Richard, good for you. I know exactly where you are. You're not alone, because there's millions of people in the UK doing exactly the same thing. It's shocking where we are when it comes to alleged entertainment. I sometimes think that this platform is going to be the way forward as we move through these incredible weird days, I have to say. Again, Paul, Bedouia, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed the show. We will be back on Sunday, won't we, for our review of the story and the engine, and hopefully Bedouia will be able to find some time, relaxing time, to get those ratings analysis ready again for next week. Wow. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Have a great weekend. Try and get through the story and the engine.
Good luck with that one. Yeah.
Please come and join us on Sunday, because I'm going to need you. I really am going to. I can feel it already. I can't be bothered. Come and join us on Sunday. We'll see you then. Ta-ra, everybody. Bye-bye.
Okay, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.